Two, one. What's up, everybody? It's Markia, aka the Money Plug. If you're watching the playback, hello. My name is Markia. Like I said, I'm known as the Money Plug here on social media. I'm a board-certified credit repair specialist and credit score consultant, and I use my platform to teach you guys kind of how to take control of your credit. All right. All right. Now we're cooking with grease. Okay, so if you're new here, how the lives work is I'm currently live on Instagram and then Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Stop it. I hate when people call me in the middle of me being live, but it's my fault for not putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. And now Instagram's about to give me a hard time. Shoot. Okay. It's my fault for not putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. But anyway, if you're new here, welcome. How it works is that you guys put your questions in the comments and then I answer them all for you. Happy Friday. Oh, I swear Instagram is going to give me, it's going to irritate the hell out of me. There we go. Alrighty. And y'all know I don't even like going live on Instagram. Boom, there we go. All right, I got everything working now. Hold up, let me make sure. Facebook, hey girl. YouTube. On. What's up? Yep, YouTube's working. Or is it? There we go. All right, so I posted some videos earlier on TikTok specifically, and I think I did one for Instagram where I was talking about FICO 10, and I got a huge influx of questions. So since I'm going to be a little bit busy later, I decided to just go ahead and go live now so that I can kind of answer some questions in real time, answer some different questions just in case people don't care about FICO 10, and kind of explain a couple of the things that I talked about. So if you follow me on Instagram, hey, how's it going? If you follow me on Instagram, I did do kind of a more detailed post for you guys because the reel really didn't release any new additional information about FICO 10 or FICO 10T. And I also posted the TikTok that I posted on my story for you guys to take a look at. Don't judge my dancing skills. But I did post a little bit more information for you guys, and I kind of wanted to go over it in detail. For those of you who just... with the new FICO 10, can they see things that you recently got removed or deleted? So, no, it doesn't. So there are some differences between FICO 10, FICO 10T, and like what we currently use or what we're used to using. But as far as what they can see, the only thing they'll be able to see is what's reporting on your credit. That in and of itself will not change. However, the effect that this information has on your credit profile and your credit score overall, now that will change. So you guys know we talked about this a little bit in January, I believe it was, because that's when they started releasing a lot more press about it, about what goes into calculating your credit score when it comes to your FICO 10 and your FICO 10T. And we talked about how the normal stuff still applies, right? 30% goes to your credit utilization, 35 payment history, 10% is going to be your credit mix, 15% is going to be the length of credit history. But that last 10% that we normally reserve for inquiries more specifically is more detailed in talking about new credit, right? So we always tell you how opening up new accounts is good for your credit profile, right? Because as you know, time passes, loans close out, maybe you close credit cards age, things like that. And so you need to be consistently opening up new accounts. Not saying you should open up a new one every day, but new credit plays a part in your score. And so instead of it saying inquiries, they have been adamant on pushing out the new graphics that show specifically that last 10% is reserved for new credit. So that is a slight difference that I've been seeing, but the same concept still applies. The maximum amount of accounts that you should be opening up in a 12-month time period is still 5. It's just that instead of focusing on the inquiry part of it, we're going to focus on accounts that you actually open. So this goes back to you guys need to start being a little bit more aware of what you qualify for before you start applying for stuff. Don't just be applying for stuff just because everybody else has it. And I also put that in the Facebook group as well as on my Instagram today, that just because other people are qualifying for cards don't mean you need to be adding all of these cards to your profile. Can lenders pick which one they want to use? Yes, that has always been an option. But what I really like about FICO 10 and FICO 10T is that this is the first time that FICO has ever released two different ways to calculate your base score. So that's the FICO 10 and then the FICO 10T. And then I'm really interested about the 10T because that takes into account trended data. So you know how I always tell people, like with your FICO score, right? Whenever you pull your credit report, it's like a snapshot. It's like screenshotting the current state of your credit, right? So it's just like a photo, right? That's a good way to put it. It's a photo. Now, FICO 10T is more of like a reel or a TikTok. So instead of just that moment in time, it's going to look at the last 24 months as a whole when it comes to your how have you been handling your accounts. So it's going to take the last 24 months into effect. Now, we always knew that the last 24 months were kind of the most important. However, this is this new concept of looking at the history all together. I'm really interested to see kind of how that works in the decision making process as far as whether or not they're going to allow you to get an account with them or not. No big name lenders have come out and said, hey, from now on we're going to use FICO 10 or we're going to use FICO 10T. So you can kind of breathe easy a little bit if you're like making a purchase within the next like 30 45 days or so. But I will start paying a little bit closer attention if you guys had your eyes on a specific account, because those announcements could be coming out soon. Hold on, I'm trying to make sure I go through and answer everybody's questions. I'm so mad I closed a credit union account that was 17 years old. I had no clue. She didn't warn me. Oh, wow. Yeah. The history associated with an account is very, very important. Oh, my goodness. Ooh. So the reason why somebody asked, why are they offering two new scores? So the reason why is because they wanted to offer more flexibility for lenders. Especially because, post pandemic, a lot more people had bad credit than who had it before the pandemic. And so they were looking for ways to kind of alleviate some of that. Because if nobody qualifies for an account, then nobody's going to be opening new accounts. It's going to hurt businesses and things like that. So they wanted to adjust how scores are calculated without taking out, the most important parts. Like, they don't want people who got 300 credit scores to all of a sudden have an 800, because that would defeat the purpose of these score models. However, they did want to make some changes so that more people qualify for more things to kind of keep the economy going, because the more things you qualify for, the more money you're going to be spending, and you kind of see where that's going. And then somebody made a really good point on my TikTok earlier. They were saying, hey, yo, what? Somebody made a really good point on my TikTok earlier, and they were saying that, it feels like every time Black people start making strides towards like closing the wealth gap or, reaching certain goalposts when it comes to their credit, like something else changes. And so I definitely empathize with that line of reasoning. And we've talked about it a bunch of times about how, these systems were never designed for us to succeed. And so when we do, they start changing the requirements. So this isn't unheard of, and it's not like unprecedented, but it still sucks, right? For a lot of you who have been working on your credit, some people are saying that the difference between their FICO 10 and their FICO 8 is 100 points. So it's just like, it's very disheartening. But I'm hoping that the more people on social media start talking about it, the more people who are in the financial space, the more we start talking about it, the more people will start doing their research to understand it, and we can kind of come out on top of this, right? Instead of kind of allowing it to beat us down. I'm still heated from our conversation this morning, child. When I tell you, I was so mad about that. Okay, so do y'all see this on TikTok? Because I'm definitely about to, can I block them from here? No, I can't. So there's a page that says the money plug. Let me see if I can block them. Because that's wild. Because why? It won't let me block them from my computer for some reason. I'm going to have to do it from my phone later. I'll leave the page up so I remember. But that's wild. Yeah, I'm going to block the shit out you talking about something. No, I wish I could kick you off my live. Why is your name the money plug? That's so weird, weirdo. Yeah, so there's somebody in the comments. It's not a compliment. It's not a compliment when you are imitating my business. It's not a compliment at all. Like that's weird to me. That's mad weird to me. That's not a compliment. Anyway, I'm not gonna let that bother me. I'm mad I can't kick you off the live, but that's because my moderator not here. But what's up, everybody? Side note, what's going on with the podcast? Oh, I knew somebody was gonna come for my neck. So, I actually took a class. So y'all know on Thursdays I don't normally work, like work. I do like admin stuff. And so I've been taking a class on Thursdays because I know what I want my podcast to be, but what I want it to be and what it's turning out to be is two completely different things. So the podcast will be relaunching in May. I'm obviously going to have graphics and all that stuff leading up to it. Actually, starting on the 15th, I think that's when the first graphic comes out. But the podcast will be back in May for season 2. Like, we're completely starting over to go back to what I originally wanted it to be. Little bite-sized pieces of information for people who aren't really heavy on TikTok, don't have time to kind of sit and stare at their phone all day to read the words on my videos and things like that. And so it's going to be coming back in May. You definitely put me on the spot. And then I also told you guys that I've been working on the course, right? So that course is going to be coming out, not in May. The course is not coming out in May, but there is an audio only course that's going to be coming out for you guys, because I do not have time to sit and stare at my phone all day. So a lot of you don't have that either. So there's an audio only course that's going to be coming out, and then I'm going to be dropping, I think I'm going to do another live class. I did a live class, I want to say back in December, and that was really dope. We got a lot of really good feedback from it. So and what I mean by a live class is if you miss it, you miss it. It will not be recorded. It won't be saved. It won't be redistributed later or anything like that. So that's also coming out. Just some stuff that I've been working on lately since I was talking about the podcast. But anyway, for those of you who are new here or you just got here, welcome. My name is Markia. I'm known on social media as the Money Plug, and I'm a board-certified credit repair specialist and a board-certified credit score consultant. And so I use my platform to teach people how to fix their credit, how to rebuild their credit. Because just because you can't afford to hire somebody to do it doesn't mean that you are not deserving of good credit, right? So that's kind of like the purpose behind all the videos and all the and things like that on social media. Another good note is that the workshops are coming back. Hey. The workshops are coming back. I have been so flipping busy this year that I have not had the opportunity to do my free workshops. For those of you who are not aware, I did 3 free workshops every month that taught you the basics of credit literacy, how to read your credit report, how your credit score is calculated, and some important information for adding accounts to your credit profile and things like that. So I've added some slides, I've taken some slides out, and we even started talking about entrepreneurship just like a little bit more towards the end. A lot of the females were already requesting it when we did the female class, but a lot of my guys are really starting to get into entrepreneurship, and so they've been asking a little bit of questions, so I included it in that as well. The 3 workshops are the Credit ABC workshop, which is for my high school and college students. And this is kind of teaching them the bare bones about how to build credit when you don't have any, including talking to your parents about using their credit and leveraging their credit to get you more credit, as well as how to do it on your own if you don't have that luxury. There's also another one that I do called the Hot Girl Credit Coach class. That's for my ladies. That tends to be the longer one because the ladies be on it. Let me tell y'all, when I tell y'all, as soon as I be dropping the dates, the ladies be registering immediately. So I'm super excited to bring that back, as well as the fellas. My fellas class is called Hood Niggas Need Credit Too. That's also going to be coming back out. As well as we're adding an additional workshop. So off to the side, as part of, I guess you could call it community service. I don't really advertise it because I feel like when you're doing something and you're giving, it does not have to be broadcasted all the time. So I was doing free workshops for service members. So a lot of times units would get in contact me, and I would do it for your sergeant time training for those of you who are in the Army, or if you put together a meeting for your junior sailors, airmen, whatever the case may be. And I was giving these free workshops that would explain. Oh, thank you so much for the fire. I was given these free workshops that explains things like the Service Member Civil Relief Act and how that benefits service members, whether you're in or you're about to get out, as well as talking about things like, interest rates on cars for initial entry soldiers, because we all go to that finance class and don't pay attention. And talking about when you get out, how to adjust your finances to adjust for that change in your income, as well as even talking about I've discussed in detail about my med board experience, how I got my med board, what I did to get my increases, and how what benefits I have as a medically retired veteran that a lot of other people don't know about. So yeah, I am on TikTok right now. So if you're watching it, if you came late, this is being recorded. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Wwtmpd, What Would the Money Plug Do? As well as I'm live right now on Facebook, on my page, and inside the Facebook group, and TikTok and Instagram. So I'm live everywhere. How about veterans? I'm a veteran. Yes, you're more than welcome to come to any of the workshops. They're completely free. They're open to the public. I have not released the dates for the first set of classes. Let me write that down. I'll do that today. Set dates for workshop. But I did say that I wanted to bring this back this month because I just have not had the opportunity to do it, and I love doing it. But I've been so busy. And then you guys know that I'm prepping for that presentation next week. Next week I'm a panelist on a presentation that's co-hosted by the FDIC and the NCUA, or the National Credit Union Association. And we're going to be talking about using social media to reach youth, right? Teaching financial literacy to kids. How are we doing it? How do I go about doing it? How do I reach these people? Where do I find these people? And how do I curate my content? So if you are a credit repair organization, I highly suggest that you watch this because there's a lot of information. This particular presentation is more so geared towards people who provide employment opportunities and resources for youth. However, it is open to the public, and the link to register for that webinar is on my website. So if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you can click the link in my bio and scroll down. There's a button that says financial literacy for youth, and you can register for that one. That is next Thursday. I want to say it's at 1 p.m., but I could be wrong. I might got the time wrong, but it is open to the public. It's free to register. So go ahead, support a girl, right? Support a sis, and go ahead and sign up for that. What else am I doing? Listen, I'm low-key like doing a lot. I'm supposed to be speaking to Detroit City Public School this month, pretty much doing one of my free workshops. However, it goes into a little bit more detail, and I'm going to be providing credit audits for each of the parents who attend the meeting. So I'm super excited about that. If you are an educator or some sort, you're tied into the school system and you would like to bring the workshop to your class to talk to your kids, all you have to do is shoot me an email at markiab@themoneyplug.co. If you're on TikTok, my email is in my bio. But literally that's all you have to do, and I'll clear my schedule to make it happen. I love teaching, especially the youth, because I feel like preventative education is a lot better than reactionary measures. It's best to give them all the information that they need up front so that they're not making the same mistakes that we made and then trying to recover. I'm a huge advocate for learn from my mistakes instead of making these mistakes yourself to learn the lesson the hard way. So again, if any of you, if you are a service member and you want to, did you read that article I emailed you a couple weeks ago? Is that the one about the guy who a couple people sent me an article, and I don't know if I just now saw it or if it just crossed my screen again, because y'all know I'm going back and answering all the emails from my vacation. And there was a guy who ran a credit repair organization, and he was filing fake identity theft reports, like fake police reports with the bureaus to get items removed, and like he got caught. And the government like came down heavy, but like I've really been trying to do research to see what happened to his clients, because those people put their trust in that man, and it just like were they notified that this happened? Are the items going to repopulate on their credit report? Like I have so many questions, but I did read that. I can't believe I'm gonna respond to your email because that shit was wild. Sorry, I was responding to a question. I get so distracted. But yeah, so yeah, your girl be working. Listen, I be trying. I try to put as much information out as possible to start conversations, right? You don't have to listen to every single thing I say. All I want to do is get you guys interested in knowing more about your credit and understanding more about your finances, because the more you think about it, the more you'll start doing your own research. The more you're doing your own research, the more you'll come to your own conclusions instead of just believing everything that you hear on social media. I'm really, really big on, getting the information from me is fine. However, I want you to be able to find the information on your own, because it's one thing to hear somebody say it to you, but it's another thing when you can find this information on your own and verify it for yourself. Because there's a lot of popular people on social media who are, they're socialpreneurs. Fixing credit got really popular during the pandemic, and so now everybody and their mama's doing it, but that doesn't mean everybody and their mama know what they're doing. So you really want to be very careful with who you're following, the information that you're digesting, and the tips you're actually taking. Y'all know I always say practice discernment, right? Take what you need, leave what you don't, and verify everything, including the stuff that I say. I tell people all the time, fact check me, boo. I ain't scared. Come on, let's talk. Let's have these discussions. Let's talk about whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong and why, right? That's what I'm having these conversations for. I want to start discussions. For example, a couple of months ago, I did a live as well as a couple of videos that talked about. So the conversation started with how me saying, and I actually got my TikTok banned for this. I actually said that Black people need to stop listening to Dave Ramsey, and I had TikTok in an uproar, but it started a very, very good conversation regarding race and financial literacy and just finances in general. We talked about the pay gap and the difference between whites and blacks when it comes to the pay gap. We talked about the availability of resources in low income communities. We talked about, we talked about school systems and why the pipelines to prison was so effective is because they didn't teach you skills like this. So then when you became an adult and you needed these skills, you didn't have them. So you turned to crime and things like that to get the easy money and to get the easy way out. So, we started a lot of conversations, and it was so cool because then people were sending me clips from podcasts of people quoting things that I said, right? Or and it brought up a lot of different conversations, and a lot of people ended up confronting some generational curses that their families had that they didn't even realize was holding them back, right? Because, and I also did a series on this talking about how generational curses don't always start off as bad things. We have to realize that our ancestors, right, the people who came before us, were doing the best they could with what they had. And so the things that they learned, how to raise kids, how to handle finances, staying in relationships they know didn't serve them, but it was getting the family taken care of. Things like these curses that we see now were just ways for them to survive. But as times change, so do the things that we're doing to survive. And so things like, we talked about how most African Americans, and I see this in our communities specifically. I mean, I see it in other communities, yes, but it's heavy in our communities how our parents told us, hey, only use your credit cards for emergencies. Credit cards aren't even a real good thing to have. So if you don't have to get one, don't get one. But if you do get one, only use it in case of an emergency. That is the worst advice that you can give somebody. An emergency implies that you don't have the money to cover this purchase. And if you purchase, you shouldn't be spending somebody else's money to cover this purchase. And so we talked about how that opened up the conversations on, okay, so if we're not supposed to use credit cards for emergencies, what are we supposed to use our credit cards for? You know what I'm saying? So we talked about how your credit card is actually supposed to replace your debit card, right? Your credit cards are actually, that's why they offer you cash back on everyday purchases, things like restaurants, travel, gas. That's what these perks are for. They want you to start using these products more and more because they get paid the more you use them, right? And so, like I said, my goal is just to start these conversations. I'm not the end all be all when it comes to anything regarding any kind of literacy, whether it's financial literacy as a whole or credit literacy. But my goal is to start these conversations in your households, to bring up these valid points so that you can start, tackling these mindsets that you have. Because the first thing that you need to do when you're fixing your credit is fixing the mindset that got you in this situation in the first place. Because you can throw money at people all day. You can throw money at people all day to fix your credit. But if you don't change the mindset that got you into this position in the first place, then you're going to end up right back where you started. You have to be able to not only identify the behaviors that are not conducive to where you want to be in life, but you actually got to put the work in to make the changes. So I'm going to get off my soapbox for a second. Let me answer some more questions. Most Black parents don't teach their children about how to help pay for final expenses. What's so crazy? I'm going to reach out to her again. I don't think I got her email address right because it bounced back, but I'm trying to get this girl on here. Her name is Brittany. She was my first introduction to things like life insurance and things like that. I can honestly say I'm ignorant when it comes to life insurance. So I hate when y'all ask me those questions. When I was 17, I joined the military, and all they told me was that if I died, my family got $400,000. So that was the extent of my life insurance knowledge growing up. It wasn't something I learned about in school. It wasn't something that somebody sat down and had a conversation with me about until I met Brittany. And I actually met Brittany on Clubhouse. Her name is Miss Life Insurance on Instagram. If you guys want to follow her, she is an excellent person, a resource for explaining the differences in life insurance. Why is life insurance important? How to make get affordable life insurance and things like that. But I'm on, even though I'm no longer in the service, I do have life insurance. I have multiple life insurance policies for my family. Because at this, like, she made it so clear, like, I'm not trying to have my kids out here doing GoFundMe's to bury me. I'm not trying to have, I'm not trying to have my family out here begging for donations to get by once I'm gone. You see what I'm saying? So I don't have any experience with life insurance. However, like I said, I'm real big on starting conversations and doing research. And so thank you, Brittany. I don't know if you're watching this somewhere or if you'll even see this, but she started that conversation in my household. And that was kind of like I said, that was my introduction to life insurance and the importance of it. They pushed NJROTC and Will. So my first high school, so I'm from Baltimore. So my first high school was the New Paul Laurence Dunbar Senior High School for the Medical Professions. I don't think it's called that anymore. But that was my first school when they didn't have ROTC. So then when I went to I transferred to a Baltimore County school my junior year, and they had it. That was really weird to me. I didn't know that was a real thing. I had only seen that on like Cadet Kelly. What was her Instagram again? Her Instagram is Miss Life Insurance. Let me see if I can pull it up on my computer, because maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. I'm going to pull it up for y'all and tell y'all exactly who it is. Miss Life Insurance. Yup, it's just Miss Life Insurance. That's literally her name. When you click on her page, her name is Brittany. Standing up. And like her bio says, life insurance advisor, financial resource, business succession, and retirement planning. Like I said, she was my very first introduction to life insurance, and she started the conversation in my household. I'm telling y'all, I really didn't even think ROTC was a real thing until I graduated from Kenwood High School in Baltimore County. So until I got there, and even there, I wasn't even interested in ROTC. How I ended up joining the military was I accidentally took the ASVAB when I was 16. I was late to school. I couldn't call my mother. You know how like your mother tell you wake up in the morning, but you don't? So I was late to school and I had to work. Yes, that's her name, but no spaces. And I ran to school thinking I was about to take the PSAT, and I ended up taking the ASVAB. But I was only 16 at the time, so they couldn't use my scores. But like on my 17th birthday, like every recruiter in my school was like, hey, let me talk to you for a second. And I mean, I had always wanted to join the military anyway. It was something my uncle did, my granddad did. Like I was all for it. I just didn't know what branch I wanted to join, but I couldn't swim. So the Navy's and the Marine Corps was out. And the Air Force recruiter was never in his office. So that's how I ended up with the Army. I had to learn about it when my father had his accident. I prepaid both my parents through the Neptune Society because I ain't having fish fries to cover a funeral. No, facts. And I be feeling so bad when I don't participate in people's like fundraisers and stuff like that when it comes to paying for like final expenses when it comes to family members. But at the same time, I also gotta let my, I had to reconcile with myself. Like I can't. A lack of planning on somebody else's part is not an emergency on mine. So, somebody else not planning for their future, I can't take on that responsibility regardless of how blessed I am. I cannot take on that responsibility for every person because you're learning the lesson. You get what I'm saying? Because then when the next person passes away, you're going to be looking to somebody else to bail you out of that as well. And again, these are conversations that you all have to start having with your family members, especially the older ones. And then we also bring it back a little bit, right? I get that, we want people to go out in style, but we also need to start acting our wage. We need to start acting like what we can afford. So if I can't afford a horse-drawn carriage to take me through the hood and back and, take me to my final resting place, then that ain't what we doing. That's just that on that. I had that conversation yesterday. I honestly don't even want a funeral, but that's a whole nother conversation. I tried getting into Western Tech, but applied late at the time, but have been accepting the Milford. Oh, for real? My brother went to Patapsco, but like all his friends went to Milford. My high school had ROTC. I think it's so weird having ROTC in high schools. Can you briefly talk about FICO 10? Yeah, we talked about it a little bit in the beginning. So I posted a couple videos today talking about it, and so that was, I go live on every Friday, but that was what made me like want to talk about it a little bit more in detail, because with this new, so first of all, the score has been available for a while. FICO 10 has been out for a while. I first heard about it like towards the end of 2019, beginning of 2020. That was my first time hearing about it. And then at the beginning of this year, I started seeing more press surrounding FICO 10. And so I had a feeling that was actually going to end up coming out this year. Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to answer that. Give me 2 seconds, Alicia, and I'm going to answer that. Or Alicia. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. And I'll answer that question. So once I start seeing like an increase in press surrounding it, I had a feeling it was going to come out this year. So I tried talking about it a little bit in January and February as well. But FICO 10 is a new scoring suite that was introduced by FICO. It's available with all, and now it's publicly available for you to view. Now with FICO score, traditionally, a FICO score is a snapshot of the current state of your credit, right? So it's literally like pulling up your history on your phone and then screenshotting it. That screenshot is your credit report. Now, the interesting thing about FICO 10 and FICO 10T is that this is the first time that FICO has brought out two base scores. It's the first time that's ever happened. And so with FICO 10T, and the difference between that and the FICO 10 is that the FICO 10T takes trended history into account, right? It's not just a screenshot. It's more of like an Instagram reel or a TikTok video, one of those little 15-second TikTok videos that tells a lender all about your credit worthiness. Think of it like that. And so with this new scoring model, there are some slight changes. However, the same rules still apply. Pay your bills on time, keep your balances low on your credit cards, don't keep signing up for accounts that you're not using or you don't plan on paying. They do say that delinquencies will have a harsher effect on FICO 10 and FICO 10T. Mines won't populate. I don't know what I did wrong, but my score won't populate. So I can't even like see if that's accurate or how accurate that is, or even give you guys like a real-time example just yet. I just checked it right before I went live. So for some reason, my score still ain't populating yet. So I got to wait until I can pull mines up. But I'm really interested to see what the scores look like. So because some people in the Facebook group that I have, they've been saying that when they check their scores, their new score is 100 points less than their previous score. However, before it came out, they were saying that at the maximum, people would have a difference of about 20 points. So I'm really interested to see where they went wrong with that calculation and what is causing people scores to be a lot worse than what they are now, if that makes sense. Your ears are cute. But thank you for taking your time to do these free lives and answer our questions. You're so welcome. There are companies that have you plan your funeral. My mom has hers paid, and I just call a number and all the arrangements are made. But the person has to be comfortable discussing death, and many are not. That's true, because I try to have these conversations with my older sister, because I'm the second oldest of 5. So I'll be trying to have these conversations with my older sister, and she'd be like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I be trying to tell her, like, don't nobody want to hear it, but you got to have these conversations. My husband like that too, low key. I don't like my ears. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I mean, I like them. Don't get me wrong, because I'm stuck with them. I ain't got no choice. However, right? I be trying to cover them up all the time. I look like Martin Lawrence. Anyway, how do you look to find the new score? So if you got my FICO, and you pull up the main screen, and like it give you a couple options. Girl, I was looking for you earlier. Hey T. And you see like the couple of options, like your mortgage scores, credit card scores, something. That very last option, I think it says additional scores or something like that. Shit, I forgot just that fast. If you click on that on my FICO, that'll take you to your FICO 10T. Your FICO 10 score. My sisters are like that. I made my mom and my aunt have that conversation last year. It was rough, but we got it done. Listen, nobody plans on death, right? Like nobody plans on dying, right? However, you got to make sure that all of your finances in order. And this is actually a good conversation to have now, talking about these credit scores, because what's going to happen to your estate when you die? How much debt do you have? How much debt do you have? Because a lot of your money is going to go to paying that debt off so that your family isn't carrying that burden when you're gone. If you are a spouse and you have joint accounts, not accounts where you're an authorized user, but if you have accounts, your spouse is still on the hook for that account. So what kind of debt are you leaving behind? So these are really good conversations to have right now. If you need a segue into these conversations, this FICO 10 and these new credit scores is a good way to start these conversations in your household. If you want to refinance your auto loan with another lender, how does that affect your score? So no lenders have like come out and said, hey, we're using FICO 10 to make credit determinations. So I haven't seen anything regarding that, and I've kind of been looking all morning. Nobody has come out and said that just yet. I really think they're just kind of like filling it out for now. Looking at how accurate it is when it comes to determining somebody's credit worthiness and what the public's reaction to it will be. So nothing is going to change right now. Nothing has changed other than there's a new score available. That's literally the only change that has been made. However, if I were you, I would start doing more research into how your FICO 10 and FICO 10T is calculated so that you can be ready in the event that some lenders are making that switch. I don't like FICO 10. It tried to bring me down. Oh no, I'm getting a Ouija board and he can help teach. I'm fucking dead. I'm hollering. Y'all make me y'all make me sick, I swear. Not the Ouija board. I like it. I'm sorry, y'all. That dance is stuck in my head. That dance and that song is stuck in my head. I already told my husband when he died, I gotta go first. I just got to because I don't want to deal with none of this stuff. I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with y'all. Call me selfish or what, but I don't want to have to deal with like settling his affair, handling his debts, and settling his affairs, and doing all the paperwork with the VA and all that stuff. Oh my God, hi Jordan. Oh wait, your question. Shit, I'm so sorry. So somebody asked, do lenders run both credits if only one person is working? And the answer is it depends. So if you live in a community property state, I know in the state of Texas, so my homegirl is buying a house down there right now. And even though her husband is not included on her home loan, like it's just her on the loan, because she's married, they have to take her husband's debt into account with her application. And so they did end up running both of their credit. So it really depends on if you want your spouse on the loan and what state you live in. But somebody who would be better suited for that question is my homegirl Rebecca. Her name on social media is the.mortgage.mentor. She's a senior mortgage consultant. She's been doing this shit for like 20 years. So she answers all the questions that you guys could have about the home buying process. And she's the one who give you the money. So it's not like you talking to a realtor. She's the one who actually signs off on home loans. So she's a huge repository of information. And I literally send all of y'all to her. Oh, and I not yesterday, but I want to say it was Tuesday. We was talking about the VA loan lady. If you are on TikTok, look up hashtag VA loan lady because I can never get her username right. But that's who y'all. If you guys are veterans or if you guys got questions regarding VA home loans, go on follow her. She sent me to you. Oh, for real? Oh, I gotta tell her thank you. How's the loan signing going? Rebecca Richardson is the senior mortgage consultant that I send everybody to. She's in the Facebook group too, Leah. As Rebecca Richardson. And then her Instagram name is the.mortgage.mentor. The loan signing is going good. I haven't been doing too many only because the ones that I've been getting are kind of like farther away. And with how high gas prices are right now, it's just not making the signing services are not trying to give us more money. I have been considering going direct. For those of you who are loan signing agents, you'll know what I'm talking about. But that means going directly to these like title companies and stuff, and getting on their kind of Rolodex, so that they're coming to you instead of going to a signing service and coming to you because you tend to get paid more. So I've been thinking about going direct, but I already got a lot on my plate, so I don't know if I'd be able to handle like that influx of work. That's kind of like just like a on the side thing I do with like notarizing documents and things like that. But I have been considering it because they're not trying to raise how much they paying people, and gas costs too much for me to be driving an hour and a half for $65. It's not happening. Oh, I already said her name again. One of my collections is showing I still have available credit, but the original lender. Wait, retype that for me. I don't get it. A collection shows you a collection shouldn't show that you have available credit. You shouldn't have available credit with a collection. I need to talk to her. Shoot, I just moved to Georgia from California, and I just realized I could have bought a house by now. Listen, I was just talking to somebody literally a couple hours ago. Somebody was talking about moving from Georgia to Cali, and I was like, "You must be smoking crack." Like it's $1 million in California for a house that don't even got 2,000 square feet. I'll be damned. I will live in a shoebox before I do that. But I'm also not ready to buy a house yet. So I feel like I shouldn't even be in those conversations because I still like pretending I'm not going to pay my rent when something in here breaks. So I'm not even a part of the big girl conversation because I'm not ready to buy a house yet. I'm not. What other questions you guys got for me? I like it. Ooh. Hey. Yup, I moved from California to Arizona. Rent was $2,800 for a 2-bedroom. Ma'am, I would live in my car. My rent in California for a 2-bedroom apartment was $2,500. That is crazy. Jesus. Yeah, Austin is way more affordable. I keep saying I want to get down to Texas. I'm gonna get down there eventually. Oh, one thing I do want to point out for FICO 10, it's not like it. It's not. I like it, ma'am. It's I like. Girl, you make me sick. One big difference that I meant to mention earlier, I got sidetracked. Y'all be sidetracking me, right? So when talking about FICO 10 and FICO 10T, so y'all know how sometimes people will take out personal loans to pay down their credit card bills because the interest is just better paying this loan off than it is paying off the credit card bill. I don't know how, right? I don't know how it works exactly. And of course, we may never know because they're not going to release the exact formula that they use. However, it is specifically stated by Experian, and I said I was going to read it so that y'all won't say I'm lying, but if you took out a personal loan to consolidate your credit card bills and now your credit card balances are high again, or it appears you applied for additional credit, that is going to negatively impact your score a lot. I don't know how they're calculating that. I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with y'all. But that's definitely just a warning for those of you who are like, well, I'm just gonna go get a loan to pay my cards down. And you still haven't tackled the mindset of you got to keep your balances low, not just pay it down once in a while. So, and they also said, I did say this earlier, but they did say that missed payments have a harsher effect now than it did previously. And that's saying something because I've known people who the difference between them getting this house and not getting a house is the late payment. So I'm really interested in seeing that as well. I like it. Oh my God, it's stuck in my head. What other questions y'all got for me? God damn, they gunning for the people. I said the same things. Y'all 90s churn. Don't do me. I cried because I knew I had the income, but my credit score wouldn't let me buy in Cali. And I'm seeing that for so many people. So many people have the income to handle a mortgage, but they can't buy a home because their score just doesn't reflect the fact that their income can handle this kind of responsibility, which is mad weird to me because if I can afford to pay all this money in rent, why the hell not just give me a mortgage? Clearly I can pay for it. The collection from the bank still indicates that I have available credit, but it's closed. So what I will say is when you have a charged off credit card or line of credit, right? If you still owe a balance, that balance is still going to count against your credit utilization. So that is still going to be factored into your credit utilization, whatever the current amount that you owe is. And as you pay that down, you should notice a decrease in your credit utilization percentage until it's completely paid off. You got to have 3 times the rent half the time. It's fucking crazy. They're making it harder and harder to just live at this point. They're making it harder and harder to just live. All I want to do is just have enough space for me and my kids, and I don't want to hear my neighbors fighting. Why is FICO 8 and mortgage scores so far apart? That's a really good question. So your FICO 8 score is what is known as a base score. A base score judges your ability to pay back a general kind of debt, right? Debt in general. Whereas when it comes to your industry specific scores, like your credit card scores, your auto scores, and your mortgage scores, these judge your ability to pay back a specific type of debt. And inside these industries, they prioritize certain pieces of your credit report or your credit worthiness over others. And that is why there's a difference in how these scores are calculated. Girl, we in a something. We in a something. I can't even call this shit a recession no more. We in a something. What other questions you got? That was a really good question. What other questions y'all got? Oh, shoot. I'm not checking all the things again. I like it. Okay. Look, I'm doing a real good job today of going back and answering everybody's questions. I just want y'all to know this. All right. T, you're going to have to punch me in my eye. Look on the report I just sent you. I noticed it. I'm going to look at it when I get off of here. Where'd you send it to? Email it to me? Let's see. Hold on, be right back. Gotta work on dinner. Ooh, what you cooking? What you cooking? Give me a plate. Y'all know I don't cook. I'm the bird in my family. Don't y'all ask me bring shit to the cookout. I bring the paper plates and the drinks. I'm about to give me a Pepsi though. I ain't even gonna hold y'all. Okay. I'll bring the Huggies. Okay, because I ain't cooking. Don't ask me cook. Don't ask me cook shit. My husband is the chef in my house. Well, I'm lying. If it come with directions, I'll cook it. Ooh, okay. So I think I'm gonna do enough. So somebody asked me about because somebody on Facebook mentioned the FCRA. So somebody asked me again. I think I am gonna do like a study group. A couple of people have asked me about it. Cause listen, let's get a little transparent for a second, right? So, I've been getting a lot of requests for like mentorship. People who want to get into this space, even if it's just to help themselves. Um, and I keep saying no, and it's not because I'm a bitch, right? It's not because I'm trying to like hold the keys in my pocket and I'm not trying to help nobody. It's simply because the right information and the wrong detrimental. I know y'all be seeing all these people on social media who quote unquote credit gurus and experts and professionals and geniuses, and they're putting out wrong information and they know the right information, but they get popular posting the wrong information and they trap you guys into signing up for services with them because they gave you the wrong information for you to do it yourself. And I really just didn't want to be a part of that. I didn't want my brand or my name to be associated with something like that. However, I have no problem sharing the information that I have, right? So I'm not opening up mentorship or nothing like that right now. But somebody did ask, can we do like study sessions for the FCRA, the FDCPA, FACTA, and things like that, which are the laws that I use to teach you guys, right? So all the information that I'm giving y'all is not stuff that I just pulled out my ass. All of this stuff, it can be found in the Fair Credit Reporting Act or the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act somewhere. It's just that I take the information and make it a little bit more digestible for y'all. Put it like I use metaphors and similes and examples that you guys can actually understand instead of the legal jargon that they leave in these books and stuff. So I did say I've been thinking about doing a study group. If I can get some more people interested in doing it, then I'll go ahead and start setting up a date and we'll meet like maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks and do that. So but that is something that I wanted to bring up. So it's not that I don't want to help people or I don't want people to be in this space, but also it's hard to teach somebody how to be me because my business is literally just me being me. There's no rhyme or reason behind why I do the things I do. If you know me in real life, then you know that this is me. The videos, the dancing, the laughing, the joking around, like all of this is me. And so it's really hard for me to teach people how to do that if that's not something that you're organically or authentically already doing. Should people keep doing the same stuff? Oh, wait. I know credit repair takes a while, but do you think it's usual for someone to not say much since November? I don't know. I don't judge how people do their business. However, with my business specifically, I make it a requirement for my clients to meet with me monthly. However, my clients have to schedule that appointment because there still needs to be some level of accountability. So if you are not making your appointments and meeting with me, and if you are not communicating with me, then who can you really blame for you not being where you want to be? So if you are signed up with services for somebody and you feel like they're not talking to you enough, initiate that contact. Let them know how you feel. Yo, can you talk to me? Cause like this ain't it. This ain't what I signed up for. And I got a lot of questions. You initiate that contact and let the people know how you feel. Cause maybe they just don't think you want them talking to you every single day. So that's just how I be feeling about that. Should people keep doing the same steps for credit repair with the new FICO score? Yes, the new FICO score hasn't changed anything as far as how we handle disputes, because I mean, it hasn't changed anything regarding how information is reported. It's just credit score is calculated. Speaking of FDCPA and FCRA, do you have any more extra books? They're sold out for a while now on FTC site. Actually, yeah, I have about 10 of those books. I don't have the FDCPA ones, but I do have like 10 of the FCRA books. So if you DM me on Instagram your address, send me your address and I'll send it to you. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I'll start sending them out next week. So yeah, if you want a copy of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, like a hard copy, it's a little purple book. It's actually this book right here. Y'all know I always keep one somewhere by me. So if you want a copy of this, which is one of the resources that I use for information when it comes to how I process disputes and how information reports to credit bureaus and things like that, just let me know and I'll send you one since the FTC is sold out. You just gotta DM me on Instagram your address. And yeah, I'll send it to you. It should only be like $2 to send it, if that. So who is the best credit report that I can see my credit score? It really depends on what score you're trying to track. So I always tell people that any of these websites are incorrect in the score that they're providing you, but you need to make sure that it's the right one you need to be looking at. For example, if your goal is to buy a home, and so that's why you're stalking your credit score, you're going to want to pull up a website that gives you the ability to check your mortgage scores, which is what these lenders will see. So your FICO 2, your FICO 4, and your FICO 5. If you're trying to get a specific credit card and you do your research and you see that this card uses your Equifax FICO 8 base score, right? Then you're going to find a website that's going to provide you your Equifax FICO 8 score. So it really depends on what score you're trying to track. I personally have 2 subscriptions. I have Smart Credit to monitor what is reporting on my credit, as well as I use like their identity monitoring, their dark web monitoring, et cetera, et cetera. And then I use my FICO to track my FICO scores specifically. So I personally have 2 subscriptions, but I mean, it's up to you. Smart Credit keeps saying that they're coming out with the FICO scores. I don't see it yet. Identity IQ does everything that Smart Credit does and has FICO scores. So that's also an option for you guys that I don't really talk about. And I didn't realize it until somebody said something the other day. Yeah, so that's another option that you have if you want to look into monitoring. And I think somebody said Equifax, you can pay for your, like all your scores and all your reports, and then you can print them out like that. Yes, Smart Credit provides your Vantage score. So I don't look at it from score. I like looking at it for what's reporting on my credit report as far as how they present the information. So I'm real big on making things user friendly. And with Smart Credit and Identity IQ, what I really like is how they put all side by side, so I can compare how information is reporting in one place instead of having to flip through the different reports and trying to compare and contrast and all that other stuff. I ain't got time for that shit. So Smart Credit and Identity IQ just makes that a lot easier for me, as well as I've been a victim of identity theft like 1,000 times. I feel like between the federal government and T-Mobile and my ex. So I also use it for like the identity monitoring, the dark web monitoring, and it's so crazy. I used this story the other day when I was talking on live, but earlier this year, or it might have been like the end of December or the beginning of January, I had got a notification from Smart Credit that my personal information was available on the dark web. I didn't think anything of it. I mean, as somebody who's worked in the cyberspace previously, I understand that everybody's information is on the dark web somewhere. So I didn't think nothing of it. But literally like a week after I got that notification, every single one of my debit cards got hit. And not just like my personal debit cards, but my business debit card got hit. My business credit card got hit. Like people was, what? They was running up a bag on me. So thank God I was able to kind of like get everything canceled, fixed, and settled. But if I would have took the action as soon as I got the notification, I could have avoided all of that. Not the case of the ex. I thought I was the only one. Y'all don't even want to get me started. I mean, but you know what? So I'm actually, I need to post that. I haven't yet. But there's a video I'm going to be posting because the CFPB, and you know what? Let me go back to that email. So y'all know I subscribe to the CFPB emails, and I actually read them. It's not something that I just get and just don't pay no attention to. But they just came out talking about an act that President Biden passed that I really wish would have got a lot more kind of attention to it. But in December of 2021, President Biden signed it's called the Debt Bondage Repair Act into law, and it prohibits credit reporting agencies from providing credit reports that contain any negative information about survivors of human trafficking from during the period in which they were human trafficked. Because what a lot of, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody else, but being military, we get. And what they teach us is that a lot of people are stuck in that cycle because financially they cannot provide for themselves because they got terrible credit and don't have stable income and things like that. And so with this new act, it's kind of giving the power back to the survivors and allowing them to kind of to rebuild after the fact, right? So I thought that was really cool, and I thought this was something that maybe we could push even farther. So I also did some videos a couple weeks ago talking about how the CFPB is taking suggestions for new legislation, and I really want to see if they can extend that to people or survivors of domestic violence, because there are multiple cases of spousal abuse that include financial abuse, where spouses will mess up the women's credit or mess up the man's credit so that they can't go get things on their own and they're financially dependent on the other party. And so I really think that this act could also benefit survivors of domestic violence, and I really wanted to talk about it. like start the conversation and kind of see what people think or how we could word the legislation to submit it, because like I said, the CFPB is accepting requests in a sense, right? Like a DJ taking song requests, right? But they are accepting suggestions for new legislation regarding how credit is evaluated, calculated, et cetera, et cetera. So I definitely thought that was a suggestion that could be submitted. And I would probably submit it to see what they say. But yeah, but I definitely think y'all should check that out. Like I said, so I subscribe to the CFPB press releases, and that was how I got into it. But if you go to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau website, which is consumerfinance.gov, you'll see all of their bulletins, any rules and policies that they've put out or changed. They have a lot of information actually available for consumers. Like I said, you just got to know where to find it. So this is actually a really good resource for you all who are interested in kind of going into a little bit more detail regarding credit literacy and things like that. Damn, that's gonna be stuck in my head. I gotta stop. I need to stay off TikTok. Let me see. Okay, I still got some time. What other questions you guys got for me today? Somebody sent me a DM today. I was kind of proud because like I don't think y'all be paying that much attention to me, but somebody sent me some questions today regarding my military sorority. I guess like not a lot of people knew military sororities were a thing. A lot of people thought only D9 was a thing, but it's a lot more sororities and fraternities than just D9s. So definitely do y'all research. But if any of y'all got questions regarding my military sorority, don't hesitate to reach out because I'm gonna hook you up with my membership coordinator. But shout out to her. I ain't gonna put her business out there, but she definitely was asking me questions, and she better put an application in too because we was talking for a while this morning. She better put an application in. Y'all ain't got no more questions? Y'all know how I do. If y'all ain't got no questions, I get off. Quick. What other credit questions you guys got for me? And it don't have to be about FICO 10. It literally could be about anything. What if you send in a medical collection validation letter and they send you an itemized bill? That is not a proper debt validation. No matter if you're talking about medical debt or a regular kind of proper debt, and I actually just did a video about this too and posted it this morning. It's called the Dispute Order Part 4. And what it goes over is the debt validation letter and what are acceptable responses. Somebody sending you a bill is not a debt validation. That's just saying that somebody owes some money. A proper debt validation is going to demonstrate the relationship between you and the original creditor because that's what ties you to the debt initially, as well as it's going to break down what those amounts are for. Now, in the breakdown of the amount, commit a HIPAA violation and you do not see a signed HIPAA release form or HIPAA authorization form, then you can actually have that removed due to the HIPAA violation. That does not mean you no longer owe that money. It just means it won't report to the credit bureaus. Does Identity IQ give more information as far as late payments than Smart Credit because it looks more elaborate? It's not that it gives more information, but I always tell people aesthetics make a difference. And so it just looks different. It still will tell you exactly when you were late, who reported you late and things like that. So it shows the exact same information. It just looks different. That's why I always tell people between Identity IQ and Smart Credit, it's all about preference on which one you sign up for if you choose to sign up for one of them. It's just that now Identity IQ offers, I tend to tell people more so about that now so that they only have to have one subscription as opposed to the two like I got, but I'm already kind of stuck in it. So I'm one of those people, once I sign up for something, that's it. So yeah. And again, that goes for medical debt and regular debt. So if you got a phone bill and you do a debt validation and they only send you a bill, that is not a proper debt validation. A proper debt validation is usually like a copy of the promissory note that you signed or a copy of your contract that kind of ties you into that debt or something like that. That is a proper debt validation, as well as a breakdown of the amount that you owe. And if a company cannot provide a proper debt validation, then they cannot report on that debt. It literally says that in the Fair Credit Reporting Act that they can only report and collect on valid debt. Oh, you missed my response. I said, no, it's really no different. It just looks different. It's all about aesthetics. Aesthetics makes the difference. So it's not providing additional information. It provides the same information. It just provides it in a different way. Oh, I just scratched myself. That hurt. I like it What other credit questions you guys got for me? You're so welcome. I'm supposed to be in here getting ready for game night with my sorority. We playing Black Card Revoked and Culture Karaoke. Y'all know I love me some games. Ooh. Oh, you know what? I should bring back the Kahoot games. Ah, you know what? I think I'm gonna bring back the Kahoot games. I'm not gonna have time tomorrow. I got a big day. I got a lot of shit going on tomorrow because it's Saturday. But I think I'm gonna bring back the Kahoot games once a week. Cause y'all remember I was doing the Kahoot games in December for Vlogmas, and I was giving out like Starbucks gift cards and stuff like that. I think I'm gonna bring that back. See if y'all really pay attention. What about consumer Mike? Thank you. Do you have a site I can contact you for information? Yes. My TikTok name, themoneyplug.co, is actually my website. Or you can click the link in my bio and it'll take you to my quick links page on my website, which has like a bunch of buttons that'll take you to like my most visited pages and stuff like that. After 7 years, is it true it drops off your credit score? Yes, but that does not mean you no longer owe. So let's also talk about that for a second. So what you're referring to is your reporting time. The reporting time for an unpaid debt is calculated based off of the date of first delinquency or that first missed payment that led to the charge off. The only thing that can reset the reporting time is a payment. Because if you pay the account off, now the reporting time goes from the date of last payment. And then that will reset that 7 years. However, another date that you need to be aware of is the statute of limitations for your state. And it's based off of the state that you lived in when you signed the contract for a particular debt. Now, this can extend past the 7 years and it can also be reset multiple times, depending on what state you live in. As far as I'm tracking, only Texas has protections against zombie debt, meaning debt where the statute of limitations has expired. In the state of Texas, that statute of limitations cannot be reset after it's expired. It can only be reset prior to the expiration date, if that makes sense. So like let's say you have a debt and it's not expired yet, but you accidentally reset the statute of limitations. That's fine. But if it's expired and then you try to initiate contact and dispute or make a payment or whatever the case may be, in the state of Texas, that will not reset the statute of limitations. Now, like I said, the statute of limitations is determined by your state. So, for example, in Rhode Island, the statute of limitations is 10 years. So even though the item will fall off of your credit report at 7 years, they still have an additional 3 years to sue you in the event that you still don't pay that debt. How do I get late payments removed not using a goodwill letter? So if you're not using a goodwill letter, and typically goodwill letters are only used for open accounts that have late payments, then the only other option you have is forcing them to prove the validity of the late payments. So if it's a credit card account, something you want to look at is when was your monthly statement available every month? A loophole that I had found, and I've used it twice so far, and it actually worked, but a loophole that I found in the, I want to say this is in the Fair Credit Billing Act, so the FCBA, which is a part of the FCRA, but it specifically states that a company legally has to provide you the monthly statement no less than 21 days before the actual due date for that payment. And if it's not done, then they cannot report a late payment for that month. So if you can prove that you did not, if it's a credit card and you can prove that they did not provide you with your monthly statement in that required time period, then you can get that late payment forgiven, and they'll have to update it to paid as agreed because they are not legally allowed to report it as late since they did not hold up their end of the bargain. Now, if that does not apply to you, if it's not a credit card, then your only other option is to request a copy of your payment history and force them to validate each late payment. Force them to prove that you were actually late. What's a goodwill letter? A goodwill letter is something that you send. So if you have an open account, you have a couple lates. So let's be clear, because I think a lot of people are misunderstanding the purpose of this goodwill letter. This is not going to work if you have a history of being late or a history of just not paying. This is for people who have a couple late payments that they're trying to get forgiven, but overall have a good relationship with their lender. That's the only way this letter is going to work. Now, the goodwill letter states that, listen, I know that I was late. I am not disputing the fact that I am late. I was ever late. However, what I'm saying is those latenesses were not an accurate depiction of my credit worthiness. It was some shit that I was going through at the time. So since we have such a good relationship, I'm asking that you forgive my late payment or late payments so that we can continue moving forward with this good relationship and this positive relationship. So you're pretty much just asking for forgiveness. That's what a goodwill letter is. I like it. Oh, you know what? I meant to share that so people can see it. I'll do it now. That just reminded me I gotta call somebody today. Hold on, I'm making sure I'm answering y'all questions. Still put y'all questions down. I'm still answering y'all questions. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I was about to say. Here we go. Can I change this? Yes, I can. Oh, let me see. There we go. Got it. All right, let's check YouTube. All right, we're good. All right. Let's see. If they forgive the late payments, will it raise your score if you have been on time ever since? Yes. Payment history is 35% of your credit score. This is the largest section of your credit score, right? And so for every late payment that you get forgiven, it will increase your credit score. Just keep in mind, the older a late payment is, the less of an effect it has on your credit score. So if it's an old late payment and you get it forgiven, don't be expecting like 100,000 points. Hey, from a core member. Hey. My friend had their school loans removed somehow from their student loans from their credit report. They received a call from a student loan service, and will the debt return? It is a possibility. Yes, that is a possibility. What a lot of you need to understand who are fixing your credit yourself is that when you get items removed from your credit report, that no longer means that you don't owe the money. That's not what that means. It just means that it's not reporting on your credit report. So technically, you still owe that money. So if that person's payments aren't deferred and they haven't been making any payments, then that loan is now delinquent and it can return. And when it returns, it will return as delinquent. Can I consider it fraud if they made me put money down on the vehicle? No, because unless like you can prove that you did it under duress, like no. And that's going to require like a court case. Because what they'll tell you is nobody made you put money down. You wanted the car and they said that was a stipulation. So you put money down to get that car. At any point in time, you could have walked away from the deal, is what they're going to tell you. So no, you can't use that as grounds for fraud. And y'all love using that F word, boy. I swear, y'all gotta be careful. Y'all got to be careful, because if you fraudulently say like something wasn't you, or you use fraud in the wrong way when doing some of these complaints, these companies can come back and sue you. Just so y'all tracking. Hey. All right, I'm just making sure I'm answering all the questions. Listen, hold up. I just want to make sure I'm answering everybody's questions. What other questions do y'all got? I'm wanting to know this too. I sent the Goodwill, so hopefully. I answered it already. I think you joined after I answered it. So I'll repeat it. But with late payments, yes, when you get late payments forgiven, that will bring your credit score up. But just keep in mind that the older a late payment is, the less of an effect it has on your score. So if it's a really old late payment that you get forgiven, it may not give you all the points that you're thinking. I was under duress. That's really hard to prove, but I always tell people, it's not impossible. It's just really, really hard. I swear I love talking to y'all. Y'all so funny. What other questions y'all got for me? I can tell I'm not used to being live on Instagram because I keep looking around for my phone, forgetting it's right here. I'm not used to being live on Instagram. My late payments were October and November of last year, and I've been on time ever since. So it's not a guarantee, right? You're at the mercy of your lender when it comes to Goodwill letters. I will be honest and open about that. And me personally, I had to use a Goodwill letter for Capital One, and I had to send in 3 separate letters before reaching out to the CEO and getting mine removed. And that's another thing. A lot of y'all try to skip steps and go directly to the CEO when you guys are doing these goodwill letters. Stop doing that. Y'all fucking it up for everybody else. The reason why it works most times when you escalate it to the CEO is because you're escalating it to the CEO, meaning you've given customer service multiple opportunities to fix this. You've given customer service multiple opportunities to better the relationship between you and them, and they is just not going. And so you're going to the CEO as a last resort to try to get this handled so that you can go ahead and move forward with this company in a positive light. So when you just jump straight, it's like, it's, well, for us, we call it jumping the chain of command. If any of y'all are military affiliated, you don't instantly go to your boss's boss and file a complaint, right? You start at the lowest level possible. So just take that into consideration when you guys are trying to decide will letters or whatever kind of letters. Take things like that into consideration. I would have music playing, but YouTube real finicky with that, so I didn't want to have no music playing in the background, and they'd be like, deleted. What would the second level be? First, customer service, and if they don't do anything, then a different customer service representative. Yep, send it again. Then the CEO, yes. People are actually teaching that it is fraud to put a down payment. My husband was on a Zoom. Okay. So what they I've seen it in like something about like the Truth in Lending Act, and it's illegal for them to require you to put down a down payment, and it's all about verbiage. At the end of the day, any contract comes down to verbiage. So what they'll tell you, right? Hold on. Sorry. So what they'll tell you is that if anybody tell you you need to put down a down payment for a car, you can go in there and ask them, do you abide by the Truth in Lending Act or something like that? And then if they do, you can point out where it says that they cannot be paid for credit applications or something like that. I don't know the exact details. I can't remember it because I've sat in on these workshops. However, what it is, it's all about how they structure these down payments that makes it legal, right? You got to understand these companies know what they're doing. These companies know what they're doing. And what they will tell you is that if this is so illegal and you don't want to do this, walk away. You do not sign up with us for a car if you are not comfortable putting down this down payment. And that is what they'll tell you. And that's what's going to that's what they're going to tell you when you go to court. So I'm gonna just tell y'all like that. Again, I'm one of those people who I'm just here to start conversations, right? So if you feel as though that's something you want to pursue, do the research. Do the research yourself. Stop depending on everybody else to give it to you. Do the research. Go to the car dealership and see if it works for you. And if it don't, you're gonna have to figure something else out. I'm about to buy a house. My car is going to be paid off in one more payment. What should I do? So it really just depends on where you are in the home buying process. I typically tell people that within 6 months of you going to a lender and asking for the money to buy a home, you should not be making any changes to your credit report. So if you're paying your car off, pay it off. I'm not about to sit here and tell you not to make the payment. However, just don't add any new accounts once it's paid off if you're within that 6-month window. Now, if you're outside of that 6-month window, typically what I tell people is to add accounts that's going to add positive reporting history without necessarily fucking up anything else. I've seen people add prepaid credit cards and it worked out in their favor. For those of you who don't know, prepaid credit cards are very similar to debit cards. You put money on these cards and that is your credit limit so that, you have no payments. You're not paying people back. You're spending money that you already had. And it does not count against your credit utilization. It only reports the on-time payment history. Typically, people will do that, or they will add rent reporting, and they will also add, so like some rent reporting services will allow you to add like a previous 2 years worth of rental history. So some people will add that to their profile. So that that adds that payment history that they're going to need to kind of get them through. Because remember, whenever you pay off a loan, your score goes down, right? Because that account is no longer reporting every month. And so some people just need something to kind of hold their score up just a little bit longer. My apartment reports on-time payments. Will this affect my mortgage credit? So when I talked to Rebecca, I specifically asked Rebecca about rent reporting and kind of how that works with your credit report and the home buying process, right? Because everything doesn't affect everything else, if that makes sense. And so she said that if you're looking for, I want to say like a conventional loan when it comes to home buying, then yes, rent reporting could be beneficial. But for everything else, it really won't do anything for you. It's only for one type of loan. And I'm not sure if it's conventional or FHA. Please don't quote me, because I'm not a mortgage loan specialist. However, right, it'll help you with one type of loan and won't help you for the rest of them. I know that for a fact. What is the lending club? I heard of that though. I don't know where I heard that before. But I've heard that before. I really don't trust all these social media gurus. I trust you because you're certified. So fun fact, certification is not required to be a credit repair specialist. That is something that I chose to do for myself. No state requires any sort of certification to be a credit repair specialist. However, like most states require like bonds and insurance and all that other stuff to operate our businesses. But and there's probably some really reputable people who don't even know about the certifications because they're not required. So I won't sit here and be like, oh, don't listen to anybody who's not certified. But what I will say is what I always say, practice discernment. Even with the tips that I give, every single tip that I give won't benefit you because every single tip is not for every single person. Your credit report is your financial fingerprint. It is as unique to you as your fingerprints are. So please take these tips and practice discernment, right? I can't look at it, T, because I'm on my phone on Instagram, but I'm going to look at it when we get off here. If you texted it to me. Wait, if you texted it to me, I should be able to pull up. Hold up. Oh, I forgot to close that, huh? That is not you that just texted me that. Oh, man. Sorry, y'all. My friend mom is trying to buy a house. Damn. And they took a higher offer. In Cali. That's what I be talking about. They want $1 million for these homes. I can't believe it. I was kind of rooting for that house, too. Damn. You're going to have to find us something else. I don't see it. You must have sent it on Instagram. I check it when I get off here. And then I'll text you. I like it. What other questions y'all got for me? Come on. These are some really good questions. Oh, for those of you who may be watching who are CROs or credit repair organizations or credit repair specialists, whatever you want to call yourself, and you want to look into certifications, the website is like cca.com. I'm about to tell you. Y'all know I like to check for myself. ccasite.org. That's the website. I went through them for all of my certifications, and I have a couple. So I'm currently working on my business credit one. I haven't taken the test yet. I'm still studying. I'm just scared to take the test if you want me to be honest with you. So I'm doing my business credit certification through them as well. But I have like my credit score consultant, credit repair specialist. Will you be posting a live on your page? So all of my lives are recorded. So this one's going to be on, I'm going to try to save it on Instagram, but Instagram be acting funny. They did let me post my live from yesterday though. So I'm going to try to post it on Instagram, but if it's not on Instagram, you can find it on YouTube. It's Wwtmpd. What would the money plug do? So you can go back and watch all of my lives on YouTube, or you can join my Facebook group. My lives are in the Facebook group, or just follow my Facebook page, which is the Money Plug, LLC on Facebook. And then you can watch them there. I'm a notary. Do you have a place to get the signer agent? On my website under affiliate links, I have the link to the training that I took. I did the loan signing systems course with Mark Willis. I ain't gonna lie, out of all of the courses that I've seen available, that definitely is like the #1 course right now. There's a lot of signing services that won't even take notaries if they don't have that certification. So I do have the link to that training under my affiliate links. What do you think about using Extra? I always recommend Extra to people who are looking for prepaid credit cards. But you got to be looking for prepaid credit cards, right? I don't just recommend that for people who be like, I need a new credit card. Can you discuss the impact of pledge loans to a credit profile? Companies know you put up the money. No, it doesn't matter. It's a loan. Pledge loans, like, because it's a pledge loan, it's not going to penalize you for that. Does that make sense? So, it's just like the self-credit builder loan, right? It's literally just like that. So they're not going to penalize you extra because you did the pledge loan and not a regular one. Okay, does it require a specific state? I'm in Kentucky. Not that I know of. I don't think it requires a specific state. Can you say that again? What was the website? Ebony, which one? If you're looking for the so they do offer training if you want to use the CCA site to get your certification. It's ccasite.org. I'm sorry. ccasite.org. if you're looking to get like your credit repair certifications. And they do offer trainings. I personally didn't have to use it just because I had already had the majority of the information, but they do provide some study materials for you to go over. It's a lot of materials to go over though, so I'm gonna be honest with you. If you have absolutely positively no experience doing this, I would not suggest only using their notes to take the test. I highly suggest, taking a minute to actually go over everything first, or maybe take like a different workshop or something. I don't know. But yeah, it's a lot of information. And it's a lot of questions on that test. On all of them. There's a lot of questions on them tests. The only one I haven't taken yet is the business credit certification. And I keep saying, oh, I'm gonna take it next week. And I have not taken it yet. But I'm going to soon. I just gotta kind of hype myself up. That's it. I just gotta hype myself up to take it. Oh, I gotta go find my. Oh, I left my refrigerator open. Oh no, I didn't. My thing fell over. Hold on, y'all. There we go. What other questions y'all got for me? I'm gonna be your hype girl. You already is. You already is. I wish she was in here earlier so I could block that page, but I did pull it up because I'm gonna report them and block them because that's super weird. Man, listen, let me tell y'all something. The day TikTok gave my blue check, it's over, bro. It's over. If they ever give it to me. How about that? Sorry, I'm checking to make sure I answered everybody's questions. I'm coming back to TikTok. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. I had 3 late payments on my Capital One account in 2016. I closed the account in 2017. Should I try to get payment? So you closed the account, but you never paid it off? Can you elaborate a little bit? Did you just not pay the account off? You have a snowball debt sheet? I do. You want me to post it? I can post it in a Facebook group for you. You want me to do that? Let me write that down. What the fuck I do with that pen? I'll put it, should I get the payment removed or wait until it falls off at this point? So you should, that's kind of like what I typically tell people for accounts like this, right? Hold on, T, I'm writing it down now. Add debt snowball spreadsheet to group files. Oh no, it's paid in full. Oh, so you just want to get the late payments removed. So you got 2 options. If you want to dispute it, you can. But I mean, like you said, it's from 2016. The older a late payment is, the less of an effect it has on your credit score or credit profile. As long as, so like here's the caveat, right? Here's the asterisk. As long as you've been building properly since then. So you need to make sure that you're adding new accounts to your credit profile. You need to make sure you're managing these new accounts properly, because you can bury that derogatory information. I always tell people there's 2 sides to every coin, right? So yes, you submit these disputes hoping you're going to get these items taken off, but in the event that they don't come off, what should you be doing like in the meantime, in between time, and what should you be doing after? And the answer always is focus on rebuilding. If you focus on rebuilding, then between now and when it falls off, you will still see consistent growth. It'll just be slower. Does the certification actually do anything for you or your business? I'm gonna be honest with you. For me personally, I got the certifications because it was a way for me to prove to myself that the investments that I had been making in this was worth it. It gave me that confidence to start talking to y'all, to start posting on social media and really demonstrating that I know what I'm talking about. And I'm not like every other person that just keeps posting on social media. So for me getting my credit repair certifications was more of a personal, internal thing. I have been open and honest about my struggles with imposter syndrome, especially when I started doing all these like the TikToks and all that stuff in the beginning, like relying heavily on social media. A lot of like the bigger named credit companies or like gurus that I had like looked up to laughed at me. I was on Clubhouse heavy. TikTok, I had been doing TikTok heavy. I was promoting it, telling everybody to do it. Like, come on, y'all, come on, y'all, come on, y'all. And people was laughing at me. I was like, I'm not dancing. I'm not doing this and doing that. And then once it really started taking off, that's when people started changing their tune. And so, for me, it was very lonely, low key, doing it that way. Like, everybody else had accountability partners and groups that they could depend on. I didn't have that. I didn't have people to hype me up really, other than Brittany. Hey, Brittany girl. And my regular friends. And so for me, these certifications were a way for me to pat myself on the back and me to push myself. Like, what you're talking about. You're on the right path. You just got to stay consistent with it. So I won't say that it did anything for my business specifically, but it did something for me and my confidence. And that allowed me to do all these dope things for my business and achieve the things that I have achieved in the last year. How would you deal with a collection? I have one. Also, no active credit lines. Well, there's your answer right there. You need to have active credit lines. Your credit score and your credit profile is all about your ability to pay bills. So if you don't have bills to pay, they can't really judge you off anything now, can they? So you need to always make sure you have active accounts on your credit report. A good baseline that I typically tell people to work towards, you don't have to do it all at one time, but a good baseline to have what's considered a good mix of accounts, right? 3 credit cards, 1 short-term loan, and 1 long-term loan. A short-term installment loan is an installment loan with a term length of 2 years or less, and then a long-term is longer than 2 years, obviously. Long-term tends to be like car loans, student loans, mortgages, stuff like that takes you a long time to pay off. But you need to have active credit lines. Now, with your collection, you got a couple of options, right? So if you're willing to pay the money, you could send them what's known as a pay to delete agreement. And this means that in exchange for the money that they're saying that you owe them, they'll stop reporting to the credit bureaus. Now, if they don't agree to the pay to delete, you can be like, all right, well, fuck it then. Now you need to prove it to me. So then you can send them a debt validation and make them prove the validity of that debt. If they cannot prove the validity of that debt, then you will no longer owe that and it will disappear. Now, it's likely that they will sell it to another company, but that's something that you'll deal with in the future. And when that does happen, then you can let that company know, like, listen, I already know you can't prove it, so I'm going to give you this money and you're going to take it and you're not going to report it or sell it anymore. And then that's that on that. Now, if they can prove the validity of that debt and they're not willing to do a pay to delete, then the only option you have is to just settle. I wish I had known you. I would have been there. Aww. Thoughts on FICO 10? I don't have like a thought about it per se, but I'm excited to see where this goes. Mainly because of the FICO 10T. So yeah, it sucks because what I'm noticing is that if you had bad credit and were improving, it kind of knocked you back a couple rungs on the ladder. I will be honest about that. And it's very disheartening, but I'm trying to stay motivated and stuff for you guys so that you guys can keep pushing. There's ways around it. No lenders are using these scores just yet. So I don't want you guys just like completely giving up. However, what I will say is that FICO 10T is introducing a very interesting concept in that, the regular FICO scores, like your regular FICO base scores, when you pull your credit report, it's like screenshotting the current state of your finances. Whereas with FICO 10T, it's more like watching an Instagram reel of your finances or watching a TikTok of your finances over the last 2 years. So I'm really interested to see how that plays a difference and whether that difference is more beneficial or more of a detriment to consumers. But that's something that I'm only going to be able to really diagnose with time. And I literally just saw the scores available today. So I would need a little bit more time. How much do hard inquiries affect your score? It depends on how many you have. But something else that you guys got to realize is that while hard inquiries don't affect your score a whole lot, it can affect whether or not you get approved for things. I literally just did a video on this today called the T on inquiries, and it talks about how, how like people be telling you, oh, shop around, because if you apply for a bunch of things in this industry within 30 days, it only hits your score one time. And that's true. However, the inquiry is still recorded on your credit profile. And no matter what your score is, if you apply for something and they feel as though you got too many inquiries in a 12-month time period, you will be denied no matter what your score is. So that's also something you want to take into an account. But again, it really depends on how many inquiries you have, in all honesty. I tell people that a maximum that you should have in a 12-month time period is 5. You should not be opening no more than 5 accounts in a 12-month time period. Thanks so much for all of your gems. You are welcome. So with that company, I did not add my social to that. Like they didn't pull my credit when I started using the company, so it was kind of just like a surprise, really. They don't need your social. They don't need your social to report information about you to the credit bureaus. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. This is why I tell you guys to clean up your personal information section, because all of the information in your personal information section is how they tie debt to you, not just your social security number. And this is something we go over during the workshop too, y'all, because I have like a chart that I got when I was in training, and it really breaks down what Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax prioritizes when it comes to your personal information and verifying information that people are saying belongs to you. Can you explain why people might continue to apply for credit card increases like every 90 days? I'm confused. Because it's okay, so the more credit that you have available to you that you are not using when it reports to the credit bureaus, the better for your score. This is called your credit utilization. So the higher the credit limit you have, but you're still managing like low balances, that's good. You want a balance reporting, but as low as possible when it comes to your credit cards. That's why people keep getting these credit card increases. Or applying for a whole bunch of different credit cards, because it's your overall credit utilization, not necessarily per card. So that means adding up all of your available credit across all of your credit cards and then calculating your usage percentage like that. A lot of people I know credit went down randomly. A lot of things play into that. Well, I know that because I'm 19 and it's an early credit report that affects it as well. But outside of that, like I really just need guidance on the collections. And thank you so much. Yeah, so with your collection, like I said, first, if you're willing to pay it, go ahead and send them a pay to delete negotiation. Like I said, it just says, hey, I pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing that you all are saying that I owe you money. However, I don't recall I don't recall this debt at all. So I'm willing to pay you in exchange. I'm not accepting ownership of this debt. However, I am willing to pay you in exchange for you not reporting to the credit bureaus. And so if they accept your agreement, you'll pay them. They won't report. You never have to worry about that collection again. You'll get all the points that you lost back. Now, if they don't agree, then you can send them a debt validation, which is where they have to send you all of the evidence that's associated with you and that debt. And they have to send that to you, proving that this is a valid debt and that you owe. And if they can't prove it, they can't report or collect on it. Any recommendation for fresh out of high school students to build credit? Yes. So I got two different pathways for suggestions, right? So if you have a reliable parent, they don't have to have the best credit, but if they have a credit card that has 100% on-time payment history and consistently low reporting credit utilization, then what you can do is you can talk to your parent about adding you on as an authorized user. They don't have to give you the card and you don't even got to touch it. They can literally activate it and cut it up and you will never use it in life. However, you're just kind of getting you're adding yourself on, you're riding their coattails. That's what you're doing. So all of the history that's associated with that card, you will now have access to, and it will help you build credit enough to open up an account of your own without having like a high interest rate or anything like that. You're still going to have to open up accounts eventually. So if you have steady income at a bank account, always start at your home bank first is the suggestion, because they know your history associated with your income and your expenses better than anybody else. But good banks to open up accounts with are like Capital One, Discover, Bank of America, things like that. However, if you don't have a parent that you can rely on, then typically what I would suggest, if you do not have consistent income, then maybe a prepaid credit card would be best for you. It does not report credit utilization, but it will report on-time payment history the more you use it. If you have consistent income, then again, start with your home bank. You may only qualify for secured cards at first, and that's fine. You just need something to help you start generating a credit score, start generating on-time payment history and things like that. And then once you allow these cards to age, right? You have these cards for a while, you keep your balances low, you're paying your bills on time, then you'll qualify for better cards. And you can either graduate to new cards, get higher credit limit increases. You know, the world is yours at that point. I have not cleaned up my personal information and it's all wrong. My name, my addresses, and you taught me better. And I definitely did. A bill is not a validation. It is not. What's up? Oh, what's up? What's up, Rogers? Have you seen occurrences where credit card companies took limits down because you didn't use? Yes. Community Bank is famous for this. And it's not even just because you didn't use it. If you have a huge decrease in your credit score, it is well within their rights to lower your credit limits or completely close your credit card. And you give them the right to do that when you sign up for an account with them. And this goes for credit accounts as well as like regular bank accounts too. They can close your account at any point in time, and they don't have to tell you until after the fact. I learned that lesson the hard way with BB&T. They closed my bank account. That was a whole thing. When I was living overseas, I was irritated. Community will close you quick, okay? And lower the shit, especially if for those of y'all ladies with a Victoria's Secret card. Oh, girl, don't you let your credit score go down. They will snatch the hell out your credit limit. Take you right down to $100 and won't care. What other questions? That was actually a good question. What other questions y'all got for me? Y'all asking some good ones today, boy. I don't got nothing to do for another hour. And then after that, it's game night for my sorority, so I'm out. All right, now don't get quiet on me. Y'all stop asking me questions. I get the hell off. Y'all know how I do. I be looking for reasons to get it off sometimes. Let's see. YouTube. Okay. Are you a Delta? No. Sorry. I didn't go to college. I'm in a military sorority. Kappa Epsilon Psi Military Sorority Incorporated. But there are sororities outside of D9. What is the best credit card to apply for? I hate when y'all ask me that question. Not no slight to you or nothing like that, but what I consider the best credit card and what may be the best credit card for you are different things. And so I just did a post on Instagram talking about that too, and I'm gonna go into more detail. I'll probably do a video that discusses it. However, when you are trying to decide on what credit cards to add to your credit profile, the very first thing that you should do is evaluate your current spending habits, because a credit card is only valuable to you if you're actually using it. And so you want a credit card that's going to benefit you in the current way that you spend money. For example, I eat out a lot. I love eating out. When I travel, first thing I'm doing is finding the closest restaurant with a bunch of reviews on it so I can go check it out. And so for me, it makes sense for me to have a card that gives me points or cash back or whatever my reward system that I like having for restaurant eating or, for travel, because I do travel a lot. So it really just depends on what your current spending habits are and what your goals are. You need to be able to identify what reward system are you looking for. Are you a cash back kind of girl? Are you a miles man? Are you a, what are you looking for in a reward system? What banks are like, what's your goal credit card or what's your goal bank to have an established relationship with? Chase is like a gold bank a lot of people set, or Amex is a gold bank that a lot of people set. And then you got to identify cards that's going to help you build solid relationships to get you to those goals. But you kind of have to sit down and identify what your goals are, what your current spending habits are, and what kind of rewards programs are you interested in. And that's going to help you identify which cards are beneficial for you. Do I have to pay off the 3% usage after the due date before the closing date? So you got it backwards. Your closing date comes first, and then your due date. So if you pay your balance all the way down to 3% before your closing date or your statement date, right? Then after that date, but before your due date, you can pay it off to avoid paying interest. A good friend of mine offered to put me on as an authorized user. Will that help the same? It depends on if that's what's wrong with your credit profile. For some people, adding a new account is not what your credit profile needs. Maybe it could be your profile is, your score is low because the cards that you do have high balances, right? And so maybe adding another card, might not be in your best interest. Maybe get a handle on your balances first before you start adding new accounts to your credit profile. Or maybe your issue is that you're top heavy. You got a whole bunch of credit cards and no loans on your credit report, right? That's not a good mix of accounts. Or maybe you just have a lot of young accounts, right? All of your credit cards are less than 4 years old. So that also could play a part in it. And so if you're adding yourself on as an authorized user to another young card, that's not going to benefit you. So first, diagnose what your issue is with your credit profile, and then decide how to move forward. Thoughts on the Bank of America credit card? Where is it on the tier system? It's the only credit card I have. I know I need more. Stop. Y'all be way too focused on the wrong things. And this is why I hate even posting stuff like the tiers of cards and things like that. because y'all be so focused on what everybody else is doing or what everybody else is saying that you're not looking at your credit profile and identifying what you need and what will work for you. So if you have the Bank of America credit card and this is the only card that you have, you need to add 2 more cards at least. Not at the same time. You can wait and see if you qualify for a different Bank of America card, or maybe there's another bank that you want to establish a relationship with. Maybe you want to have Capital One in your pocket. So maybe you'll go over and you'll get the Capital One Venture card because you like to travel. But yes, you're going to need another credit card. So you need to sit down, look at your spending habits, think about what kind of rewards you're looking for, think about what banks you would like to establish relationships with, and move forward like that. This is why I do not post the tier system on my page, not even on Instagram. I don't post it on nothing because you guys don't need to be looking at that when you're determining what's the next card for me. You need to look at what's the best card for you and your situation. My credit profile is low because I have high usage, but a great mix of accounts. Girl, pay that shit down. Come on, we're going to pay it down. Oh, you did just ask me for the debt snowball spreadsheet. We're going to pay it down together. I don't have any balances. I just left from paying them off. Haven't used anything since 2020. So if you have credit cards that you're not using, you are running the risk of having your accounts closed, and that's going to tank your score. You need to make sure that you are using your credit cards at least once a billing cycle. Must I pay off the amount I used between the due date and the closing date? You gotta flip it. So if you have a credit card, the best way to go about maintaining low balances consistently is to make sure that you're paying your balances down before the statement date or the closing date, because that always comes first. And then your monthly statement is going to come out. It's going to tell you when is your payment due, right, for whatever's left. And then before the due date, most people will pay it off to avoid paying interest. We kind of had the discussion a while ago. And like I said, this is where discernment comes into play, because the first person to play with me in my comments is the first person getting cussed out. I'm going to go ahead and let you know this now. But I hate when I say something and it doesn't resonate with people. And so they feel the need to tell me I'm lying or I'm wrong just because this tip does not work for them. But for those of you who are rebuilding, establishing good relationships with lenders is very important, because those relationships can get you things that your credit score won't, right? It's the old having a degree, not having a degree discussion, right? You have to rely on these relationships with these lenders to get you things that normally your credit score will qualify you for. Now, I've done it. I've seen it. Some people tell me I'm lying, but if I'm lying, I'm flying. And there are multiple people who agree with me. But in certain instances and in certain situations, I will pay interest on a card, even if it's a minimal amount of interest. But I will pay interest on a card to kind of help establish, getting good with a bank. So it's a preference thing. If you want to pay interest, go for it. If you can't afford to pay everything completely off, go for it. As long as your balances are low, by the time you go ahead and it reports to the credit bureaus, that's what matters the most. Everything else is secondary. I can jump with getting my usage down. How do you feel about the Discover It card? I love Discover. Discover period is a really good bank to have a relationship with, and I've heard really good things about the It card. I closed them because they were sent to collections. They are just still on my report with a $0 balance. So if they were sent to collection, that means these accounts are no longer open, because only a charged off account can be sold to collections. So you shouldn't even be calculating those as far as when you calculate how many accounts that you have. So if this means that you have no credit cards, you need to start opening up credit cards. And for those of you, so let's say you are rebuilding, right? You looking at this video right now and you like, look, I want to rebuild right now, but my credit is terrible and I don't qualify for anything. What card can I add to my profile? Look into Self. I've been using Self since like 2014, 2015. And they have a program called the Self Credit Builder Loan. You pick how much you want to pay and for how long, up to 2 years. And it's automatic payments that you pay every month. Now, after you make 3 on-time payments and you have at least $100 paid into the program, they will give you access to a credit card. So this credit card is a regular credit card. It operates just like a regular credit card. It's just that your spending limit is going to be determined by how much money is on the card. And as you keep paying into Self, they will give you the option to continue to raise your credit limit using the money that you already paid into it. Or you can just leave it low and leave it as it is and use it that way. Now, the loan that you're paying off, right, the loan, at the end of the life of that loan, once you're done paying it off, you will get direct deposit or a paper check in the amount of money that you paid into it, minus the money that you've put on your credit card. So that's why I love Self, because you're actually paying into a certificate of deposit. So you get all that money back. So it's a good like little savings tool that also builds your credit. So that is a good option for those of you who are rebuilding and just can't qualify for, like regular credit cards anywhere. Prepaid credit cards are also an option. Credit Sesame has a really good program called the Sesame Cash Card, which is where you put money into the account and you make purchases with the card, and then they'll take that and generate on-time payment history for you and report to all three credit bureaus. It won't report credit utilization. However, it will report on-time payment history, and remember, that's 35% of your score, so that's going to help you with generating positive reporting history and kind of getting you out of that slump. I don't have any cards, so would my friend adding me help? Yes, it could. Yes. Just making sure that they have 100% on time payment history and consistently low reporting credit utilization. Can you post how to delete inquiries? I've done that before. I got a couple playlists on my page, but I've posted a couple times how to get rid of inquiries. But pretty much what you're going to be doing is you're going to be playing on the law of permissible purpose. So first of all, you're only going to dispute inquiries that are tied to accounts that you did not open. Do not dispute inquiries that are tied to open accounts because that can get your account closed. So that's the first warning. Now, when you're doing this, people typically start with the credit bureaus. They'll dispute with the credit bureaus. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Some people say they call and be like, it wasn't me, and then they delete all the inquiries. I don't do that because technically you're committing fraud because it was you. And so by saying it wasn't, you're lying. So typically what I tell people is to send in a letter and you're going to say, hey, I pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing these inquiries right here and I just do not recall where these inquiries came from. Can you please provide me a copy of the credit applications I filled out or the proof they have that I gave them consent to pull my credit? What you're doing is you're playing on the law of permissible purpose. That states that a company has to have your written authorization or consent to pull a copy of your credit report. And so they have to be able to furnish that consent or that authorization. And if they can't, they have to remove the inquiries. Now, a lot of times the bureaus will be like, oh, we can't help you because we're not doing all that shit. So reach out to the companies. And then you'll literally send the same letter to the company. Hey, on this date, I have that you guys said that I gave you permission to pull my credit. I don't recall. Please give me a copy of my credit application that I filled out or the written authorization that I gave you permission to pull my credit. If you cannot provide a copy of that authorization, please remove this inquiry from my credit report. Simple as that. Credit card experts advise we pay 100% by the due date, use 3% after the due date, and let that report. I don't know why that sounds so. First of all, your statement date comes first. So I don't know why they're flipping that around. So your statement date comes first because your monthly statement comes out and tells you how much money you used in that billing cycle and what your payment is. So when you have, I don't know who this credit card expert is, but how it works is that you will pay down your balance to as low as possible without touching 0% prior to your statement date. And then after your statement date, you'll pay it off. That's to avoid interest. So, yeah, that's still paying 100% of the account off. But the statement date comes first, because the billing cycle has to close. Your statement date is after your billing cycle. So I always typically tell people that you want to submit your payment no less than 5 business days before the end of your billing cycle to make sure that your payment clears, because at the end of that billing cycle is your statement date, and that's when they report you to the bureaus. So you want to make sure that your payment has cleared prior to that. And then after your statement date, meaning they didn't already told on you to the credit bureaus on what you spent for that billing cycle, you want to make sure that you pay the card completely off before the payment due date to avoid any interest. All right, I'm just making sure I'm answering all the questions. All right. I feel the due date comes before the statement date. Your statement has to come out in order to even tell you when your due date is. And in the Fair Credit Billing Act, it specifically states that in order for a company to legally report that you are in fact late, they have to provide your monthly statement no less than 21 days before your payment due date. That's how I know the statement date comes before the due date, because your statement has to come out in order to tell you how much you need to pay before your due date. That's why I said the statement date comes first. Thank you, Dion. But like I said, this is a good example of, listen, trust but verify. So if you pull up the Fair Credit Billing Act, that dictates how credit card companies are allowed to bill you and what your rights and responsibilities are as a consumer when it comes to your credit cards. What's the significance of your due date then? That's when your payment is due. Your statement date is when the credit card company reports your credit utilization to the bureaus, as well as provides you with a copy of your charges for that billing cycle. And that monthly statement that comes out always tells you when your payment due date is and how much you owe based off of the charges that you had during that billing cycle. So that's how I know the statement date comes first. But again, fact check me. Pull up the Fair Credit Billing Act and it will outline all of that. As long as some people be like, oh, I'm not making two payments, blah, 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 blah. Listen, as long as you pay before your due date, then you're not going to have no late payments. So if you don't care about your credit utilization, I don't care about your credit utilization. As long as you pay before your due date, you won't get no late payments. However, if you want to control your credit utilization and how it reports to the credit bureaus, this is why we suggest that you make the two payments. I'm just checking to make sure we answer all the questions. All right, what other questions we got? When do I have the obligation of paying interest, on due date or statement date? This is after your due date. Again, your statement date. Okay. Do me a favor, right? I want you to pull up the Fair Credit Billing Act. This is a part of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which outlines this particular part of the Fair Credit Reporting Act outlines how credit card companies bill you and what your rights and responsibilities are as a consumer who uses credit cards. And it outlines everything from how they charge you interest to when your statements come out, to how you can challenge the amounts. Like if you want to say that something is fraud, so how would you challenge that and things like that. So definitely read the FCBA because it will break it down like Barney style for you. And it's coming straight from the horse's mouth, right? It's coming straight from the FTC. So it's not coming through me. So you'll kind of understand it, I guess, or you'll trust it more, I guess. I don't know. Do multiple payments to a credit card in 1 month help improve your scores beyond reducing the balance? So it's not necessarily that the multiple payment is what improves your score. It's when you make the payment. So if you only make one payment a month, that's fine. It's all about when you make the payment. So the difference between paying before your statement date and paying after your statement date is that the amount that's reported to the credit bureaus is what is going to be used to factor your credit score. Does that make sense? So if I maxed out my credit card and I don't make a payment before they tell the credit bureaus, then they're going to tell the credit bureaus I maxed out my credit card. And if this is the only credit card that I have, then my credit utilization is going to max out and it's going to tank my credit score. However, if I submit my payment and pay, my card, because you always want to have something reporting, right, for your credit utilization. So if I pay $95 and I leave a $5 balance right before they go and report to the credit bureaus, when they go to report, they're only going to report my $5 balance. And so my credit utilization won't be maxed out. That is why we make those multiple payments. And, because you need to have something reporting for your credit utilization, this is why we make two payments instead of just paying it completely off. What's going on with FICO 10? So FICO 10 is a new scoring suite that FICO is introducing for lenders. It's actually two scores. And this is the first time that FICO has ever introduced two base scores. It's FICO 10 and FICO 10T. And if you are new to the live, welcome. It's currently being recorded, so whatever you've missed, you'll be able to go back and watch it on YouTube as well as on the Facebook page. The YouTube channel is Wwtmpd. What would the money plug do? And the Facebook page is just the money plug, LLC. It'll probably pop up as a gaming creation page because I do whatever I can to reach as many people. But in any sense, it's just another way to calculate your credit worthiness. No lenders have come out saying that they use this just yet, but they're making the score available to the public so you kind of know where you stand. Ooh. And the biggest takeaways are that delinquent payments, so like missed payments, are going to have a harsher effect on your score, as well as for those of you who got a personal loan to pay off your credit cards. If you rack up the debt again on your credit cards, then that's going to have a huge detriment to your score. What do I do if I paid a collection, but it still shows up paid? It's been over 6 months. If you did not negotiate a removal upon payment, then there's nothing you can do. It's going to report for the next 7 years. You can always ask the company to remove it nicely, but there's no incentive for them to do so because you did not negotiate that prior to paying and you already paid them. So they don't have to remove it. But for future reference, if you have a collection before you pay, you can say, hey, I'll give you this money in exchange for you not reporting to the credit bureaus, because that's the only way to get points back whenever you have a collection. What other questions y'all got for me? Oh, you said it's popping up unpaid. If you have proof that you paid it, you can provide a copy of the proof that you paid it and a copy of your credit report showing that it's reporting as unpaid. You'll send that to the credit bureau that is reporting it, and they will update that information. That shit stuck in my head. What other questions y'all got for me? Yes, if you did not negotiate a removal, the bureaus are not going to remove it for you. The company has to tell the bureaus to remove it. The bureaus don't make no big decision. They do whatever the creditor says. A lot of people give them way too much power. The bureaus can only verify, not validate. So all they're going to do is reach out to the company and be like, yo, did you mean to say this to me? And then the company is either going to say yes or no. So if you provide them with proof that you actually paid it, they're going to reach out to the company like, yo, they paid this. You need to update how it's reporting. And then the company's going to be like, oh, my bad. We meant to say it was paid. That's literally how that conversation is going to go. But the credit bureau is not going to remove it just because you paid it. You have to have something in writing that says that in exchange for your payment, they would have removed it. That would have got you the removal because it's already in writing and they don't have to investigate. But pretty much your only option is to either reach out to that company directly and ask them to remove it, or just go with the update. Excuse me. And bad debt is not always a bad thing in a healthy credit profile. No such thing as perfect credit. This part right here, y'all be so obsessed with removing items that y'all be killing yourself trying to get it done and committing fraud every chance you get. Like these credit suites and things like that. The reason why they're so popular and why these people are making millions of dollars scamming the shit out of y'all is because you're desperate. You're so desperate for that perfect credit score, the credit profile, but you don't need that to have a good credit score. And I think the lack of education is what is convincing people that you have to remove every single negative item in order to even be considered having good credit. And it's not the truth. Is it common for a car insurance company to send things for collection? My boyfriend has a collection from an accident. So yes, if you don't pay a bill, anybody so I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I just sent somebody collections. So we'll talk about it for a second. So, I run a credit repair company, right? And a guy had an audit with me. He did not pay me prior to the appointment, and normally I don't even have the appointment unless you pay. And I am going back to that, but I tried to be nice. He had logged in, didn't really know how to use the client portal, and instead of asking questions, he was just waiting until we got on, and he was just eating up a lot of time, and I had somebody after him. So I did his audit, resent the invoice like, hey, when you get a chance, pay. It's been about a month, and this guy still has not paid. So I sent another reminder like, yo, if you don't pay this, I'm gonna send this to collections. Still haven't gotten a payment. So I sent that to collections. So now this man is gonna have a collection for $100, all because he chose not to pay me. Anybody can send you to collections. Literally anybody can send you to collections if the debt is not paid. With medical bills, if you're on a payment plan with the hospital, can they send you to collections? You need to make sure that you have that agreement in writing, and that in your agreement, it states that they will not sell that debt to a collection company while you are making payments on it actively. Alexa, this snooze. I don't know if she dismissed it or snoozed it. I have an email that they will delete. So if you have an email saying that they'll delete upon receipt of payment and you have proof of payment, print both of those out, attach them to a letter to the credit bureaus and say, hey, I paid this debt. They said they would remove it, and 6 months later, it's still reporting. This needs to come off immediately. And so they will remove it because you provided them all the evidence that they needed. So that's what you can do. Hello, should a charge-off account show a balance if you have a balance? So if you haven't paid it, yes, it can show a balance, and it can still show a past due balance. Now, once that charge-off has been sold to a collection company, and that collection company has retained ownership of that debt, then your past due balance will be zero for the charge-off, but the balance for the collection should reflect whatever it is you owed the original company. Hammer time. Welcome back. And why did they come up with this? Oh, hey, Cliff. I didn't even see this. Welcome back. And why did they come up with this new score? So low key, this score has been around for a while now. My first time hearing about it was in 2020. I'm surprised they didn't make it publicly available back then. Nobody really knew what they were waiting on. But it's been around for a while. But over the years, kind of like as you know, society evolves in a sense, and as the economy changes, they have to make certain changes. Otherwise, nobody's gonna qualify for shit anymore. You know, with the pandemic, a lot of people got bad credit because a lot of people were laid off, their income changed, couldn't pay their bill, into foreclosure, you know, all kinds of issues happened due to COVID. And so they brought this into effect to try to give people a fighting chance, quote unquote, right? It's changing how things are evaluated to make more people qualify for more things, because the more things people qualify for, right, the more money people are actually going to spend in the economy. The more money people spend in the economy, the more America is like the number one, right? So, you know, otherwise, nobody would qualify for anything. Nobody would be spending any money, and these businesses would go bankrupt. So that is why they are continuously making new scores and new ways to evaluate someone's creditworthiness. Hello from Delaware. Hello, Delaware. It shows the OG creditor collecting and the second party collection agency. So if that's the case, then you should not have what it should show. So let me see if I can pull up this slide. Damn it. Oh, I can't share my screen, huh? Oh yeah, I can. Instagram won't be able to see it, but you'll be able to see it. Let me see if I can pull up my slide and show you. I'm on the wrong computer. Never mind. Do me a favor. Send me screenshots of the original creditor and then the collection company, and then I'll tell you what it's supposed to look like. We'll do it like that, because I can't show everybody and I don't want to put all your business out there. So you DM me on Instagram. Don't DM me on TikTok because I don't check my TikTok DMs. But DM me on Instagram what it looks like, and then I'll tell you whether it's right or wrong and what it should look like. Because then I can just send you the slide I have. Would it be worth trying to fight the collection if you have proof that nothing was due and paid off? Yes, because to collect on a paid debt. So, oh, thank you. It's illegal to collect on a paid debt, and so that's just one reason why you should dispute it. And then if you paid it before it went to collections, shit, they can't even report on that debt because it was already paid prior to them accepting ownership of the debt. So definitely worth fighting. We're number one, not number two. Let me tell y'all something. I didn't realize how ghetto America was until I moved to a different country. And then I got to see it for myself. And like, I was embarrassed to tell people I was from America. Like, and that's just me being honest with y'all. Like, Americans are very, very ghetto. Very ghetto. She said super ghetto. You're so welcome, Cliff. I was talking to Cliff. You're so welcome, Cliff. Boop, doo, doo, doo. Doo, 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 doo. All right, I got like 30 more minutes. What is going on with this weather? It'd be so pretty during the day, and then at night, it's just trash. I got 30 more minutes before I gotta get ready for game night. All right, y'all ain't got no questions. Y'all know my rule. Y'all ain't got no questions. I get the hell off. I get out of here. What other questions y'all got for me before I head out? Going once, going twice, going three times. Ooh, that's actually a good question. So we playing Black Card Revoked tonight for game night. And these questions, I've never like played it in its entirety. I only like played a couple cards, and then we always end up doing something else. But these cards are funny as hell. Like, funny as hell. How to get hard inquiries removed. We already talked about that. How to get late, we talked about that too, but I guess we starting over. All right, so we literally just went over this, but you of your anybody who gets access to your credit report, an employer, insurance, credit card applications, loan applications, all of that. They have to be able to provide a copy of the written authorization that you gave them, usually in the form of like the application that you signed, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to send a letter to the credit bureaus and you're going to say, hey, I recently pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing these inquiries that I don't recall giving them permission to pull my credit. Can you please investigate and provide me with copies of the written authorization to pull my credit? And if they cannot provide them, can you remove these from my account? So, it depends on who looks at your stuff that day. I'm gonna be 1,000% honest with you, because they might just send you to the creditor, like, girl, talk to them. And if that's the case, you'll send them the exact same letter, like, hey, I pulled a copy of my credit report and I'm noticing that you all are reporting an inquiry from me and I do not recall giving you consent to pull a copy of my credit. Can you please provide me with a copy of the authorization that I gave to pull my credit? And if you cannot provide a copy of this authorization, can you please remove this inquiry from my credit report? That it's literally that simple for hard inquiries. Now, for late payments, there's a couple of things that it is dependent on. If it is an open account, it's dependent on the relationship that you have with that lender. So if you have a history of late payments, like you always late, this is not going to work for you. And unfortunately, nothing's going to work for you until you can establish a history of on-time payments. But a goodwill letter is what you will use if the account is still open. Now, if the account is closed, you got a couple options. If it's a credit card, what you can do is you can pull up copies of your monthly statements, because the Fair Credit Billing Act states that if a company cannot provide proof that they gave you your monthly statement no less than 21 days before your payment was actually due, then they can't report that late payment. And so if you can prove that you did not get your statement within that required amount of time, then you can get that late payment updated to paid as agreed. Now, if you can't prove that, right, then if, like, let's say you don't want to get that specific into it, right, you can request a copy of your payment history and then ask the company to validate each and every late payment that you had. If they cannot validate those late payments, then they'll update them to paid as agreed. And if they can validate the late payments, then you're just stuck with them. What is to be expected from working with a credit repair specialist? Sorry if this is a repeat. I can't answer that question. I can only say what it works, like what it looks like for me. So how it works is you go to my website, click on become a client, and if you want full service repair, you'll select that option. You will fill out the web form that you see right there, and that's going to give you access to my client portal. Inside my client portal, there is a chargeback addendum that you sign initially, so that any charge, it's just pretty much giving me permission to charge you, and that you giving me permission to do so. So it's going to prevent chargebacks. You also are going to upload your identification. I are who you say you are. I can't just be touching people credit and stuff without verifying that you have permission to give me that information, because you are that person. So it's going to require you to upload like a copy of a driver's license, and either like a utility bill or a bank statement or something like that to verify who you are and where you live. And then, there's some emails that you're going to get that's going to break down the process. And then we're going to schedule a Zoom call. All of my business is handled on Zoom. And if you want your meetings recorded and sent to you, we can also do that. It's really up to you. It's a preference thing. But during your onboarding, what we will do is we will go through your entire credit report and we will come up with a plan of action that works for you and whatever your goals are, because there is no one size fits all when it comes to credit repair. This is why I can't just make up a plan without even looking at your stuff, because everybody's credit profile is different. So what works for one person may not work for another person, because your goals are different. And I also need to make sure that I am the best fit for you, because there are certain things that I am not willing to do as a credit repair specialist. And there are certain things may not be willing to do to repair your credit. And so we need to kind of like iron out those details when we do your onboarding. If you still want to sign up for services, you'll go ahead, you'll sign up. We pick your tier of service, you pay. If I need any support and documentation, I'll let you know, you upload it, and then we kind of go from there. With any letters that I send out, your address is always the return address. And so you will always get the responses to any letters that are sent out. And as my client, you are required within 5 days of receiving these letters, you have to upload them into the client portal. I cannot move on to the next round until I have the responses to the letters that we sent out. That's just kind of how that works. I also personally require, and this is just me, I personally require check-ins every month. However, it is up to my client to schedule these check-ins. I do not do it for you. There has to be some level of accountability when it comes to repairing your credit. Now, I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret, right? I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret that a lot of my clients don't even know. When done properly, right? The system, like how it works and how the repair and rebuilding works with my program specifically, even if absolutely positively nothing comes off your credit, right? You should still see an increase in your credit score. And the reason why is because I put an emphasis on the rebuilding during the repair. And what that means is, because listen, there's a two sides to every coin, right? It either gets deleted or it don't. And so the way that I do the repair and we come up with these plans and I give you guys the homework and things to do, if done properly, you will still see growth. But in the event that something doesn't come off, it will not be growth as fast as what a lot of people want. So let's say you got all charge-offs. We all know charge-offs are harder to remove. So let's say we go through round after round after round after round, and all this stuff is coming back as validated and then it's not coming off. But you should be rebuilding during this process. So as time passes, these accounts are getting aged. You adding on-time payment history. You paying your balances down. So even though these items did not come off, you are still seeing growth based off of the history that you're establishing now. And even though you will have a past on your credit profile, because it is a past and you've now established a history of positive reporting information, you will still see that growth. So even if you don't sign up for services for somebody, let's say you can't afford it, or let's say you just haven't found the right person for you, if you hyper focus on the rebuilding portion, right? Or let's say you went through this whole dispute process yourself and nothing worked and you just don't know what to do. If you focused on rebuilding and you did it properly, you will still see growth. It just won't be as fast as probably everybody else you're seeing in these credit repair groups. But then that also boils down to you guys also have to stop coveting what everybody else has. Y'all will see somebody's in chapter and be like, damn, why that didn't work for me? Somebody be like, oh, I got this in 30 days. And then you mad because you ain't getting in 30 days. Y'all got to learn how to mind your own business sometimes in these credit repair groups. But I'm just not going to say nothing else on that because I hurt somebody's feelings earlier, but I meant it. You are so welcome. Like I said, I can only speak for me. I don't like speaking on other people's business because I mind mine, and I don't need nobody speaking on me because y'all all know how I get down. But I can only speak on how my business operates, and that's how it works for me. What time is it? All right, I got 15 minutes. What other questions y'all got for me? I still gotta mind your own damn business in my Kevin Hart voice. Okay? You'd be surprised. Like, I hate going into the larger credit repair groups, and a lot of times I only go in there if I'm tagged. I even turned off all the notifications. Like, I do not go into those larger credit repair groups because a lot of people get so upset that something worked for somebody else and it didn't work for them, not realizing that everybody's credit profile is different. So unless you've diagnosed your issue before taking a step and opening an account or whatever the case may be, of course it's not going to work for you because you didn't put in the work to identify what's actually wrong with your credit before you just started adding shit to it. So I said that on Instagram today too. I don't know who need to hear this, but stop applying for a bunch of shit. Because a lot of times adding a new account to your credit profile is not the answer. But that's neither here nor there. What other questions y'all got before I head out? I'm hungry. Ooh. I just realized I ain't ate since lunch today. It's time for my second lunch because Lord knows this ain't finna be dinner for me. What y'all cooking? If my credit report doesn't show a specific address, can the creditors collect things attached to that address? Yes. Yes. That reminds me, somebody asked me the other day, well, they spelled my name wrong, so that means I don't owe. Nah, you still owe. You still owe that money, even if they spelled your name wrong. If you decide to dispute it, it just makes it harder for them to validate that debt. And trust me, once you start doing a little digging, they probably will correct that real quick. But that is grounds for a dispute. That's grounds for a dispute. Not necessarily saying it's going to guarantee the removal, though. I like it. What other questions y'all got? Damn, I think I've been live for like 2 hours. Oh shit, yeah, I've been live for over 2 hours. I'm gonna get off here in a little bit because I gotta go to the garage and get my other little game for game night. Nothing. I'm baking a cake. That ain't dinner. What's for dinner, T? What you cooking? I need to make something. No, we had lasagna yesterday. I don't know what we having for dinner tonight, but I'm hungry. All right. Well, if y'all ain't got no more questions, T, I'm gonna text you, girl, and I'm gonna go head out. I've been live for like 2 hours. I need a break before I talk my chapter head off on this game. I'm grilling chicken with sauteed green beans. Damn, that sound good, actually. You know what? I think I'm gonna Instacart some stuff for the Instapot. I think that's what I'm gonna do, because then I can just throw that shit in there and it'd be ready in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Well, it's been real, everybody. Like I always say, if you have any additional questions, you can always submit them to me by emailing me, DMing me, whatever the case may be. Just don't DM me on TikTok, because I don't answer those because people are weird. But if you DM me on Instagram, I'll try to get back to you. And if you send me emails, I'm still catching up on emails from my vacation. I'm not even finna lie to y'all, but I've gotten through about half of them, I want to say. I think I have like another 50% to go, as well as from my clients. I am prioritizing my clients. So that goes to say something, right? How many messages I got. But I am getting back to everybody. I'm just asking y'all to give me a little bit of, extend a little bit of grace, because it's a lot of messages. All I have on my credit is derogatory marks. What would be the best way to build credit? Well, first you need to diagnose what your issue is, because why are all your accounts derogatory? What is your problem? You have to identify the problem first before adding new accounts to your profile. And then the things that you can handle, you get a handle on them. So if you have unpaid balances, go ahead and knock those down one by one. If you have collections, start negotiating pay to delete, get some of them points back. So you got to start there before you start adding new accounts to your credit, like, because they're not, you can still get denied for things. So start there first. Diagnose what the issue is, fix what you can, and then once you diagnose what the issue is and start making progress, once you start seeing that progress in the form of your credit profile health increases, your score starts going up, even if it's just a little bit, then you can start looking at, okay, so what accounts can I add? But you got to be able to diagnose what's wrong first. But like I always say, I am out, y'all. Live every day like it's your last, but pay your bills and wear your condoms just in case it's not. And if y'all got any questions, y'all can comment on my videos. I'll try to go back and answer them all. You got collections from evictions and medical bills. So then you're going to have to, medical bills is some of the easiest debt to remove from a credit profile, especially after you pay it off, or well, before you pay it off, you can negotiate pay to delete. I would say tackle those first. The evictions, you can always reach out to the company directly to try to settle it with them and have it removed. Or forcing them to prove the validity of the eviction. I do have videos on my page that outline how to remove evictions. I think I have like 2 of the tactics that I've used for my clients. So I would definitely take a look at those. But tackle the collections first, because collections can get you automatically denied for new accounts because people don't want to see that. So if you tackle the collections first and either pay them, whatever the case may be, and then start adding new accounts to your credit profile. That's my professional opinion, but I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here because I gotta try to grab me a snack or something before I hop on this call. If you guys got any more questions, like I said, comment on my videos, DM me. You can always email me at markiab@themoneyplug.co. So MARKIA, the letter B, at themoneyplug.co. If you're interested in services, I offer 2 services. One is full service credit repair for those of you who live in every single state except the state of Georgia, because in the state of Georgia, it is illegal to provide for-profit credit repair services if you are not a real estate broker, a lawyer, or a nonprofit organization. And my business is not any of those things. If you are in the state of Georgia, or if you are working on it yourself and you kind of just want to be pointed in the right direction, I offer a service known as a credit audit, which is where you and I sit down on Zoom and we scrub your entire credit report from top to bottom. I tell you exactly what's wrong, what letters you should be sending, what responses you might get, and how to respond to those, as well as credit building tips specifically for your profile. So that's also available on the website. But I will see all of you next week. I'm not going to be going live this weekend. Maybe Sunday if I have time. Probably not. But I will be back on Monday morning to talk to you guys. So enjoy your weekend, and I will see you then.